and the public to the meeting this morning, and any members of the public viewing this meeting through the website. If the fire alarm sounds, then it will not be a test, and we should all leave by the nearest exit and congregate on the front car park by the assembly point sign. Please, could everybody switch off their mobile phones and turn down the volume on their iPads? The monitoring officer will explain what is happening during the meeting to assist our webcast viewers. Before we start the formal business of today's meeting, I would like to remind you all of the need to conduct this meeting properly. Could you all please remember to speak through the chair and not across the chamber to each other? During the meeting, we must all treat each other with respect. Please do not comment or heckle when another member of the council is speaking. Only those who are called to speak and are on their feet should be heard. Please remember to show due consideration for your colleagues. We'll move on to agenda item number 1, which is the apologies for absence. So have we got any apologies, please?
Chair, I have apologies from Councillor Attridge, Councillor Allport, Councillor Simon Jones and Councillor Turton.
And there's no more indication. So agenda item number 2, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest, please? Councillor Carberry on line.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to ask Gareth, do I need to declare an interest for agenda item 9 with regard to constitutional issues? Because I'm one of the named councillors on the Standards Committee.
No, Chair. Members only declare interests in relation to matters that are external to the council. Councillor Carr, that's one of the things that's part of your role within the council, Councillor Carberry.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you, Chair. Not to declare an interest, but can I ask that we have some windows or something open in here? There's a lot of people, it's very warm. Thank you.
It is a tad warm, I agree there. I think it might even get a bit hotter. Agenda item number 3, and this is tributes to the late Councillor Hilary McGuill. And I know there will be a number of people that will want to speak on this. But first and foremost, I'd like to invite Councillor Andrew Parkhurst to start us off.
Chair, we actually have the order of service. I put them here. I just popped them there so people could see them. It looks like they're on display. They're not there. If people wanted to see them, we can pass them around the room. There were a couple spare Friday.
Diolch, Chair. Members of Council, it is with deep sadness that we mark the passing of Councillor Hilary McGuill, a colleague whose dedication, integrity and compassion helped shape this authority and the communities she served for so many years. Hilary's contribution to public life in Flintshire was defined by long service and unwavering commitment. First elected in May 1999, she gave over 2.5 decades to this council, serving with distinction in a wide range of roles. Most recently, she was chair of the Constitution and Democratic Services Committee and a member of the Children's Services Forum. Hilary's leadership was also evident in her time as chair of the Social and Health Overview and Scrutiny Committee and the Overview and Scrutiny Coordinating Committee, as well as when she served as vice chair and later chair of Flintshire County Council. Alongside her county duties, Hilary gave steadfast service to her community as a member of Argoyd Community Council since 2005 and Argoyd Sports Association. Hilary also contributed to regional bodies, including the Community Health Council Flintshire Area Committee and the North Wales Fire Authority, including its executive panel. Hilary approached every responsibility with determination and a quiet but unmistakable strength. Even in the face of personal adversity, she remained resolute, guided by a belief that public service is a duty carried out with courage, fairness, and respect for all. Hilary's work was always rooted in the well-being of residents. She had a particular concern for those who found themselves vulnerable or displaced, and she played a vital role in helping Afghan refugees settle into our local communities. She offered not only practical support, but genuine welcome, ensuring that families arriving in difficult circumstances found safety, dignity, and a sense of belonging. That compassion was not an isolated act, but a reflection of who she was every day, and it would behove us as councillors to remember that. Among her colleagues, Hilary was valued for her expertise, her thoughtful judgment, and her deep sense of humanity. She brought clarity to complex issues and never lost sight of the people behind the policies. Her commitment to social justice was evident in everything she did, and her voice, steady, principled, and kind, will be profoundly missed in this chamber. Before her retirement, Hilary had served her community professionally as a radiographer, both here and overseas, and later as a postmistress. She had also been prominent in the Girl Guiding movement, roles that, like her public service, reflected her lifelong commitment to helping others. To her friends, her family, and the community she served so faithfully, we extend our heartfelt condolences. Flintshire has lost a dedicated public servant, a tireless advocate for others, and a woman whose presence made this council and this county better. The best way we can honour her memory is by continuing the work she cared about so deeply. Diolch yn fawr, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Parkhurst. I think you speak for most of us when you said those lovely words. I think you covered a lot there, and I'd like to put on record as well how beautiful the celebration of life service was for Hilary and how well attended it was. It was absolutely an honour to be there, and she will be missed, yes. Councillor Dave Hughes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning to you all. Hilary lived a life with purpose, compassion, and unwavering commitment to others. She understood instinctively that good public service must be both well designed and warmly delivered. She began with what became decades of public service. She joined Argyll Community Council in 2005 and remained a proud and active member of the Liberal Democrats throughout her political life. But beyond any political label, Hilary was known above all a councillor who cared, openly, consistently and wholeheartedly about the people she served. She was an active and vocal member of the Social and Health Overview and Scrutiny Committee, always sharp, always prepared, always engaged. Hilary had read the papers, understood the issues, and asked the questions that really mattered. If she wasn't content with the performance or progress, she would let you know, because she wanted the best for our residents. And her approach was always grounded with kindness, often arriving with mince pies at Christmas, a gentle reminder that scrutiny and warmth can go hand in hand. She never waited for others to step down. She led by example, taking on significant leadership roles, including Chair of Social Health Overview and Scrutiny Committee, Chair of Overview and Scrutiny Coordinating Committee, Vice Chair of Flintshire County Council. Most notably, Hilary served as Chair of Flintshire County Council in a chamber where debates could become intense and opinions sharply divided. Hilary brought calm, fairness, and authority. She ensured that every voice was heard, every view respected, every debate conducted with dignity. The range of committees Hilary served on reflects just how deep she immersed herself in the work of the local government. Children's services, health and social care, education, youth, enterprise and corporate resources. She never shielded away from complex or challenging issues. Instead, she leaned in, determined to understand and determined to make things better. Beyond the council chamber, Hilary gave her time and wisdom to wider partnerships that supported communities, including the Community Health Council and the North Wales Fire Authority, where she also served on the executive panel. In every role, she was respected for her preparation, her fairness, and a steady judgment. She was at heart a doer, present in her community, attending events, celebrating successes, supporting others, welcoming families, resettling in our area, and quietly getting things done. Hilary was all about people in the truest sense. She was compassionate, willing to speak up, and unafraid to ask difficult questions. She held officers to account, and when necessary, motivation was never to be criticised. It was understood that to ensure that services truly supported those who needed them, from children to older people. Hilary reflected everything that is good about strong communities: kindness, connection, generosity, and togetherness. She embodied public service at its heart. Her legacy lives on in stronger services, better decisions, and in the countless lives she has touched along the way. Hilary made a difference, and that difference, like her infectious smile, truly endures. She will be missed by us all greatly. Thank you.
Councillor Married Eastwood.
Diolch Cadeirydd, bore da pawb. As has already been said this morning, Hilary was first elected in May 1999 and she had over 25 years of public service. I only started to get to know her though when I was encouraged to stand for the County Council election in 2017. I had little idea of knowing what I was getting myself into, but I was fortunate in that Hilary was my mentor as well as fellow ward member. And over the years, we got to know each other really well, sharing the same ethos, sense of humour and view on life. We have been described as being a formidable partnership and have spent hours together putting the will to rights, planning and laughing. She had clearly lived a full and interesting life. There was never a shortage of stories from Hilary. She loved her family dearly and was always interested in people and their well-being. She gave everything her all and often pushed me well out of my comfort zone, always with her unstinted support, and for which I will always be grateful, as it has given me opportunities and experiences I would never have dreamt of for myself. I hope she was proud of what I have achieved, and I'll continue to strive to be the kind of councillor she was and rise to her standards. We became great friends and were often each other's +1 at both council and community events. Whilst a staunch Liberal Democrat, Hilary's focus was always on our community and how we may, as councillors, support it. That was always her priority. She was passionate about the work that she did and had many stories relating to people, young and old, that she had helped and supported over the years. Never one to chase the limelight or formal recognition, she nevertheless knew the value of the work she did. She was tremendously proud, especially of our new school, Monday Vista campus, and referred to it as being her legacy. I think she was quite right to be so proud. It is a wonderful achievement and asset to our community. Whilst I have heard the words dogged and stubborn used to describe her also, I think it's fair to say that Hilary was widely respected, probably due to her integrity, care and pursuit of the right thing to do. She knew so many people and her back knowledge was immense, as was her dedication to whichever position she held at council. She was known, as we've heard this morning, for being well prepared, asking key questions and getting involved. She was also known for her personality and sense of humour, which could be quite naughty at times, And I'm sure there are many stories of her antics, such as turning up at her first proper council meeting wearing hot pants, Gareth, causing her to be reprimanded for inappropriate dress. Hilary was positive, pragmatic, kind, and determined to squeeze as much out of life as she could. She was a fantastic role model and friend to me, and I will always be thankful for the support and guidance she has given me over the years, the push when I've needed it, and the time I've been able to share with her, a wonderful, warm, and caring person.
Councillor Gina Madison, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Boroda, good morning and welcome back to all of you in the chamber. And thank you to Democratic Services for setting this meeting up after the hard work you've done over the last month. Although I knew Councillor McGuill, Hilary, only a short time, she touched my life in a way that I believe she touched the life of everyone who came in contact with her. Hilary always looked immaculate, so today I'm wearing orange, the colour of the Liberal Democrats, in her honour. At County Hall, I always sat at the back by the door, and in later years, when Hilary arrived using a chair or a frame, she would sit next to me, and we had many interesting conversations. We were of an age to remember similar political times, and she was always very interested to hear of the great Liberals of the city of Birmingham, my birthplace. Joseph Chamberlain, MP, who built Civic Birmingham, the free libraries, parks, colleges and swimming pools, and Councillor Wallace Lawler, a personal friend of my family, who was famed for his work in social housing in blitzed post-war Birmingham. I greatly respected that Hilary always remained true to her political party. Everything Hilary said was sensible and forthright, yet I never heard an unkind word pass her lips about anyone. She was a true lady, and she was a kind and compassionate one, with great generosity of spirit. She was an excellent chair of Constitution and Democratic Services, on which I sit, and a faithful member of Health and Social Services Overview and Scrutiny Committee. I think we would all have liked her to have enjoyed a long and happy retirement, but in many ways it was fitting and appropriate that she passed serving the community that she loved. I conclude by slightly misquoting the poet Andrew Marvell's lines on the death of Charles I, which I believe can be applied to Hilary in the council chamber. She nothing did or mean upon that memorable scene. She nothing common did nor mean upon that memorable scene. I hope that today will be a tribute to that spirit. Rest in peace, dear, dear Hilary. And please save a place for me up there next to you so that one day we can continue those interesting conversations. A life well lived. Thank you.
Councillor Carol Ellis.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with all that's been said, and I would also like to pay tribute to Hilary. I've got many memories of Hilary, mostly from the social and health aspect, being on the same committee for many, many years as Hilary. In fact, she was at one time on Flintshire Local Health Board, a member of that, along with myself. That was just before the change to Betsy Cadwallader University Health Board, and everything changed. She was also on Community Health Council with me, and Hilary was always a grand example of how to scrutinise. I always used to think Hilary actually should give lessons to all of the council on how to perform in scrutiny. Always read all the papers, always very knowledgeable, always putting forward residents' concerns. She was always a great challenge in a controlled manner and polite manner. She was a great example to us all. I've got many memories, along with some other councillors in this chamber, of walking in protest against the then proposals to close Argoyd School. Hilary was at the forefront of that protest. Likewise, when there were proposals for the closure of community hospitals, Hilary was there, protesting, putting forward. Residents always came first. But my standout memory of Hilary is her performance, not only as chair, she was excellent as chair of social and health, chair of the council, but her role on Children's Services Forum. That was fantastic. How many people do you know as corporate parents? She was always making us aware how we as councillors and officers are corporate parents. How many people do you know that cared so much for looked after children that when one was a care leaver and became homeless, she actually took him into her home to allow the fact, well, he was homeless, but then he could continue in education in the Wrexham area. She'd done that. It was all vetted, all present and correct, what she did. But how many people, that was her commitment to the Pride of Flintshire, always there. Her commitment to all of the children on the looked after forum. We would have children come along. She would always be listening to their problems and trying to come up with ideas to help. And always she was doing that. And along, Hilary and myself were at the forefront of bringing along the A2A card for looked after children. And Hilary fought really hard for that. That was back in 2012. And that's still, I believe, correct, in operation today. So she wanted to make sure that looked after children were looked after to the best of her ability. My memories of Hilary are very fond. She was a strong voice, strong and calming, but always with residents' thoughts and concerns at the back. And it was a pleasure and an honour to sit on the committees that I sat on with Hilary, be it Social and Health, be it the Community Health Council, and everything she did. So rest in peace, Hilary, and I know her family are totally, utterly proud of her, justifiably so. And we have lost one of the best councillors that have ever actually stood in the chamber. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Helen Brown.
Yeah, thank you. So much has been said about Hilary, and we absolutely agree with all of it. It's going to be hard to follow some of those tributes to Hilary. She was such a hard-working and dedicated councillor for her community. She was a very strong voice, not only for her constituents, but for those across Flintshire. Chairing the Social and Health Scrutiny and the Community Health Council for a number of years, giving a voice to those who may have gone unheard. She held people to account. Our thoughts are with Hilary's family and friends, and I would end by saying we give thanks to Hilary for working so tirelessly, so hard for a number of years. Hilary, you will be sadly missed by us all. Rest in peace.
Councillor Glyn Banks.
Thank you very much, Chair. Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to everyone here who's made their fantastic tributes here. Alongside the fitting tribute that was the memorial service on Friday, which was absolutely fantastic and a really fitting tribute for Hilary. Would just like to mention that I think the only committee that Councillor Parkhurst missed out was the New Homes Board, which Hilary has been a fantastic member for years, and I've sat alongside her on there, So I just wanted to say this as on her behalf. Fantastic member of that committee, as she was in every committee that she took part in, and everything she did in life, by the sound of it. And just rest in peace, lovely lady. Thank you.
Councillor Christine Jones.
Diolch. Bore da, pawb. Well, everybody says everything, really. There's not much left to say about such a wonderful, beautiful lady that Hilary was. Carol has literally said everything I was going to say about her support to me and to everybody who sits on Children's Forum. And I want to thank Hilary on their behalf, because those children who are looked after absolutely loved Hilary. They loved her. Everybody that attends the forum always enjoyed the presence of Hilary at our meetings. She was such fun. She was so dedicated. She loved being there. And everywhere Hilary went, she was passionate. When she was social care chair, passionate about health, passionate about social care. She was just a beautiful, loyal, committed councillor, but she was a friend, and I really will miss Hilary. She supported me from day one. You could ask her anything. She was always there for you. But for those children who we look after in Flintshire, she was there for every one of them. I remember as the young man that Carol mentioned, she just helped him through life, and she supported everybody who we've had through that forum. They were like, as Carol said, we're all corporate parents, but to Hilary, she was like a parent to them. She really supported them and cared for them so much. So on their behalf, I thank Hilary, and as a friend, I will miss her greatly, as we all will. Such a wonderful councillor, such a wonderful person, and she will be missed in his chamber. So.
Councillor Chris Biffle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Like everyone here, I was very saddened to learn of Hilary's death. She had been struggling with her health for some time, but nevertheless she battled on and did not let that deter her from her task and her role and responsibilities. I've known Hilary, on what's been said, probably longer than most here, because it hasn't been mentioned, she served very briefly on Delyn Borough Council many years ago. She was elected. Don't know about hot pants, but I remember her very much in the miniskirt era on that council. She wasn't a member for long because the family, of course, moved out to the Middle East, where her husband was employed and she was employed as well there. So I missed her for about 20 years, really, before she returned. And then, of course, she stood again for the council and was elected for Monadissa on Flintshire County Council in 1999. She was a very honest and transparent councillor who always spoke her mind and championed the issues, especially in relation to social work and the interests of looked after children in particular. For a number of years from its inception, I chaired the Children's Services Committee. It met at a very odd time. It met at 4:30 in the afternoon when most people were going home for tea. It met at that time because, of course, they looked after children who were also members of that committee. They came along after school and had to be transported from other parts of the county. But Hilary's attendance record was excellent. She was there, not just there in person. She played a very, very full role in that particular committee, again, asking questions and pursuing the interests of those young people in particular. And that was very, very, very welcome in that particular committee. And the children knew it as well. Those children who were there knew it. And Carol has referred to a particular instance, where she actually took in one of the young men there who had lost his home. And, she demonstrated Hilary for what she was, really, not just a person of words, but a person of actions as well. And not many people knew about that, but we knew, one or two of us, what she'd done. And again, that was very much appreciated by the young man himself and indeed the committee. She made a valuable contribution to all discussions and decisions that were made. And again, you know, the 2A2 cards were introduced, as again referred to. She was very much prominent on that particular drive as well, because young people get into school late, for example, or missing appointments and so on, were getting into trouble, and they couldn't really justify themselves without going into full details, probably in front of the class and other people. That particular card was aimed to address that, and again, she was fully behind that, and we welcomed her contribution. It was very much to be valued and esteemed. And again, the Pride of Flintshire Award ceremonies that we've always referred to, she was always there too, and took a great part in the promotion of that and the organisation of that. And again, we very much appreciate that. She made her work here, she made friends here, both in the council and in the community, of course. And we will all miss her in our own way and be very fond of the memories that we hold of Hilary's contribution. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councillor Gladys Healy.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to play tribute to Hilary from my personal and as a councillor. I came into council in 2017, and Hilary was the first councillor to tell me, I'm here. Anything you want to know, I will help you with. Not only did she help me, she was always there for me as a friend, as a fellow councillor. She came to visit me when I was ill, and she wasn't well herself, but she came to see me. When I lost my daughter, she was there for me all the time. She used to phone, she used to ask how I am. Hilary was a tower of strength, as you've heard from everybody else, what she did in the community, not in the community only, in individual people. And she stood by me always. She was a tower of strength. She was an honest person. Honesty, we can take that strength from what Hilary did. We should, if we can all be as honest and loving and caring as Hilary, we would achieve something really big. And I hope she's left that legacy of honesty and love. It is not only, it doesn't matter what political party you are, but we are all humans and we should love each other, care for each other, and stand firm together for the community of Flintshire. And I just want to thank and remember Hilary for everything she has done. She was like a big sister to me, and I will never forget that. Thank you all.
Thank you all. There's some lovely and befitting tributes there to our late colleague, Councillor Hilary McGuill. She will be missed. We're going to go on to agenda item number 4, and that's the Chair's review. So, bear with me. Just going to thank Councillor Alistair Ibbotson for his help with the tech on this, because I'm a technophobe. Lord Barry, Lady Janet, members, chief officers and guests. This is the part where I'm expected to be reflective and perhaps a little bit emotional as well. So if I choke up, please forgive me. Serving as chair of Flintshire County Council over the last year has been a genuine privilege, not because of the chain or the title, but because of the responsibility that comes with it, and at times the patience it requires, which I think it's fair to say has been tested at least once or twice. I've had the honour of chairing this chamber through long meetings, very long meetings, lively debates, and the kind of moments that remind you just how much people care about the communities that they represent. But some of the moments I remember most happened outside of this chamber. Representing Flintshire County Council at events across our county and beyond has given me the opportunity to meet people from all walks of life. Community groups, volunteers, charities, veterans, young people, local organisations and residents who quietly make a difference every single day. And wherever I've gone, and the thing that has stood out above all else is the pride people have in their communities and in Flintshire itself. Throughout this year, I've tried to be consistent in one thing, and that's fairness. Fair to every member, fair in how I've listened, and fair in how I've conducted this chamber. Because whether we agree or not, we are all here for the same reason, to serve the people of Flintshire. Now, I want to take a moment to recognise those who have supported me throughout this year. My chosen charities, Giddo's Gift and the Counselling Hub. Thank you for the work that you do in our communities every single day. It has been a privilege to support you, even a small way. And I'd like to, at this point, also mention the kind sweepstake that Councillor Gina Madison organised, and that's made a contribution towards the final totals for these charities. I also want to place on record my thanks to Gareth Owen, Steve Goodrum and our Chief Executive, Neil Cockerton, for their support and guidance. It has been genuinely appreciated. And in particular, Karen Jones. Your support, organisation and calm approach have been invaluable. I'm incredibly grateful. To my friends who each took a turn as consort, they stepped in, they stepped up, and they probably didn't quite know what they were letting themselves in for, but they did it with real support, so thank you to those. I also want to recognise our officers who keep everything moving, often without recognition, and my fellow members. Thank you for the challenge and the support, and for keeping this year interesting. Now, before I finish, you may have noticed something on your desks in front of you. These are tomato seedlings grown from scratch by my own hand. Many talents. They are all different varieties. Some will grow tall, some will stay small, some will produce red fruit, others golden, all striped, all different shapes, all different sizes. And they're all at different stages of development too. Some are already strong and established. Others are still finding their feet and need a little more time. And I'll let you decide amongst yourselves who is which. But they all started in the same place, the same soil, the same care, the same intention. And I think that is symbolic of us in this chamber. We are all different. We bring different views, different experiences, and at times, very different opinions. But we are all rooted in the same purpose, to serve Flintshire and the people who live here. And as Joe Cox once said, we are far more united and have far more in common than that which divides us. And if we can hold on to that, especially when we disagree, then we're doing something right. And as I stand here today, I do so proud to have served the chair and grateful for the opportunity to represent the people of Flintshire. Thank you very much. And for those that are online, there are some spare plants knocking around, so we'll leave them here for you to collect. Councillor Coggins-Cogan.
Thank you, Chair. I have to unfortunately make a point of order. I don't think these are random because mine is Tiny Tim. I'm not sure if that was deliberate or not. However, Chair, as someone who often makes a burden on your time by standing up and talking quite a lot and challenging decisions that are perhaps made, I would like to thank you personally for, I think you've been very fair in your judgments. I haven't always agreed with them, but I have agreed with some of them, which normally means you are being fair. And I think you have chaired the council in a way that should make you and those close to you very proud. You've done a very good job. Thank you, Chair. Okay.
Thank you for your kind words. That takes us over to agenda item number 5, and that's the election of chair for the council for the municipal year. I never get my tongue around that. The coming year, 2026-27, and the investiture with the chain of office and signing of the declaration of office. So the election of chair of the council for the municipal year, 26-27. Colleagues, I'm pleased to seek nomination for the chair of Flintshire County Council for 26-27. Any nominations, please? Councillor Dave Hughes.
Thank you, Chair. Due to circumstances, and I'd like to thank Councillor Debbie Owen, but due to family circumstances, you wouldn't be able to take the chair for the council this year. So I propose that, Mel, you've done an excellent job. I would propose you continue for another year. Thank you, Chair.
Is there a seconder for that? Yes. Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Hutchinson. Councillor Carol Ellis.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations on fabulous year and being very fair to us all. However, I would like to propose Councillor David Mackey. Councillor Mackey has been an independent councillor since the year of 2008. An excellent councillor, very experienced, previous chair of Harden Community Council, chair of finance. So I would propose Councillor David Mackey. Thank you.
And a seconder for that? Councillor.
Yeah, thank you. Can I formally second that and say that Councillor Mackey has been an excellent councillor since he was elected in 2008, a former chair, vice chair of Harden Community Council. I don't think there's a meeting or a paper that Dave hasn't attended or read over his years as being a councillor. So I would wholeheartedly support Councillor David Mackey for the chair of Flintshire County Council. And can I take the opportunity to thank you, Chair, for your indulgence over the year. You've been a fantastic chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations, please? No?
Speaking of the chair.
Would anybody like to speak? Councillor Coggins-Cogan.
Thank you, Chair. We've had our nominations now for chair, as it's usually the custom the vice chair would take over. I understand Councillor Owen can't take over this year due to personal circumstances. I just wanted to thank Councillor Owen for her year as vice chair. It's not easy being sat there providing support to the chair and to the officers. So I just wanted to give her my thanks on behalf of my group. And also, had Councillor Owen decided to continue, she would have had the support of my group. Thank you, Chair.
I would also like to add my thanks to Councillor Owen as well. You've been a great vice chair. Thank you very much for your support.
Just going to give a bit of procedural advice and just a procedural comment. For reasons that have been discussed and agreed with group leaders that I won't go into now. Ordinarily, the chair wouldn't preside, a chair wouldn't preside over their own election, but in the circumstances, Mel is going to, Councillor Buckley is going to continue in the chair. because otherwise we kind of have to send her out of the room and then bring her back and all the rest of it. So, Chair, you will. It's been agreed. You can continue to preside, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers at this point? No. Then we'll go to the vote. And all those.
So, Chair, in terms of process, just for those watching online, we have 2 nominees, so this will be a straight vote. We normally put the candidates into alphabetical order by surname, which would be obviously yourself first. And you'd ask for all those in favour of yourself, and then all those in favour of Councillor Mackie, and whichever candidate receives the most votes will be elected.
Thank you. So, as Gareth has said, all those in favour of myself, Councillor Mel Buckley, please raise your hand, please.
Thank you. So 8 online and 28 within the room, Chair. 56.
All those against myself?
No, Chair. No? It's just no. It's all those in favour of Councillor Mackie is the next question, Chair.
And this is why we have Gareth. All those in favour of Councillor Dave Mackie, please raise your hand.
There are 16 in the room and 5 online. So that's 36 for yourself, Councillor Buckley, and 36 for 21 for Councillor Mackie.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for putting your trust in me to carry on for another year. And I hope to just do more of the same, fairness, listening, and chocolates from Councillor Coggins. I'm joking.
So, Chair, ordinarily, of course, at this point we'd have all the we'd have the changeover of the civic insignia. We don't need to do that. However, you do still need to take the oath of office for the coming 12 months, which the Chief Executive will administer.
I, Councillor Mel Buckley, having been elected to the office of Chair of the Council for the County of Flintshire, declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe this Council's Code of Conduct for the time being, adopted under Section 51 of the Local Government Act 2000, in the performance of my functions in that office.
Okay.
Colleagues, I would like to thank you all for the honour which you have bestowed on me. And I know that being the Chair of Flintshire Council, County Council is an important role, and I will do it to the best of my ability. I will need help from you all, especially the good conduct of meetings. In chairing meetings, I intend to follow my predecessors in the role and be firm but fair. On behalf of the Council, I would like to thank... This is mad.
This is
Councillor Mel Buckley.
And we were expecting a different.
For how she has conducted herself as chair over the last year. She has shown dignity and authority and has been approachable. Thank you. There we go.
There is a new copy of the script, Chair. I have the old one.
Okay.
So
we've done that. Yeah. So agenda item number 6 is to appoint a vice chair of the council for the municipal year 25-26. Investiture with the chain of office and signing of the declaration of acceptance of office. That's the one.
that's the wrong one. It should be 26, 27, Chair.
Appointment of the vice chair for the council for the municipal year 26-27.
This, Chair.
Thank you. Investiture with the chain of office and signing of the declaration of acceptance of the office. So have we nomination for vice chair of the council for 26-27? Councillor Bill Crease online.
Thank you, Chair, and could I just add my congratulations to your re-election for the coming year. I'd like to nominate Councillor Steve Coppell for the role of Vice Chair. Steve does work outside of the council, I think, which will provide a very firm basis for the role as Vice Chair. So, Councillor Steve Coppell.
Thank you. Do we do? Councillor
Anthony Wren.
Anthony Wren, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to second that nomination.
Sorry, thank you, Councillor Wren. I do know your name. Are there any other nominations, please? Councillor Coggins-Cogan. Nope. No other nominations. So there will be no votes. Any speakers, please? Oh, sorry, Councillor Ellis, was that a nomination?
Yes, it was. Thank you very much, Chair. Again, I'd like to nominate Councillor David Mackey for all the reasons I said previously. His experience on this council since 2008, highly experienced councillor, as we all know. So I would nominate David Mackey. Thank you.
Do we have a second of Councillor Mackey? Councillor Ibbotson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I second Councillor Mackey. I welcome the nomination of Councillor Coppell in that he is undoubtedly, as Councillor Crease says, a well-qualified candidate. I would note, however, that there had been a convention in this council up until last year that the roles of chair and vice chair would alternate between the administration and the opposition. A convention well established and promoted by the former leader of the council, Ian Roberts. The administration has chosen not to proceed with that convention, which was an important gesture of good faith on the part of the administration towards the opposition, which sets the tone for the year ahead. It is therefore with deep regret that we cannot support Councillor Coppell's nomination on that basis, and we would invite the administration to restore that convention and work constructively with us by voting for Councillor Mackey.
Are there any other nominations, please? No.
Any speakers, Chair?
Any speakers, please? No. So I'll call upon the members to vote Vice Chair. And on alphabetical order, I'm told Councillor Steve Coppell is first. So all those in favour of Councillor Steve Coppell, please.
Sorry, those online, I'm just being a bit slow getting to my computer. If
Those online, can you
up,
keep your hand up, please?
Please, thank you. So that's 27 in the room and 7 online.
All those in favour of Councillor Dave Mackey, please raise your hand.
Right. That's 18 in the room and 5 online, Chair. Well, that can't, right. Yes, I can. So that's 34 for Councillor Cockle and 23 for Councillor Mackey, Chair.
So I'd like to congratulate the new Vice Chair on being appointed.
Thank you. I, Councillor Steve Cockle, having been elected to the office of Vice Chair of the Council of the County of Flintshire, declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the Council's Code of Conduct for the time being, adopted under Section 51 of the Local Government Act 2000, in the performance of my functions in that office. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
So, Councillor Cockle, would you like to say a few short words to mark your appointment?
Chamber, thank you very much for the vote today. It's one of those things that this has come from nowhere, but nevertheless, I feel I will support Mel, Councillor Buckley, and all her work going forwards, and look forward to working with you all in the next 12 difficult months. Thank you very much.
I would like to now suggest that my guests return to the Chair's room whilst the rest of the business on the agenda is transacted, but they are welcome to stay if they want. And may I once again extend my thanks to Lord Barry and Lady Janet Jones for their amazing presence.
Yes.
Okay, back to the agenda then. Agenda item number 7, the election of leader of the council. Do we have a nomination for leader of the council, please? Paul Johnson, Councillor Paul Johnson.
Chair, could I move a recorded vote, please?
We have sufficient, Chair.
Yeah, no, there's enough. Councillor Paul Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to nominate Councillor Dave Hughes as leader of Flintshire County Council. It's my privilege to do so. The politics of this council, particularly the fractured nature of our political groupings, mean that we need stability. And Councillor Hughes has exactly the skills we need to create that stability and to get things done. The people of Flintshire don't need theatrics, gaslighting, inexperience. They want certainty and a safe pair of hands when difficult choices and decisions need to be made. Politics isn't a pantomime, or at least it shouldn't be. And it's worth really strongly noting that the leader of this council goes well beyond this council chamber. It's the things that need to be done, the discussions that need to be held with the councils, with businesses, etc. So for stability, responsibility, integrity, and the common touch, I move Councillor Hughes.
Do we have a seconder, please, for Councillor Christopher, second?
Congratulations, Chairperson and Vice Chair, and commiserations to Councillor Mackie in particular. We don't always get what we want in this business, and the lovely, wonderful Councillor Rosetta's at home, and she hasn't always had what she wants and what I want either. Even from their own town councils over many years of service, just like Dave. So congratulations to you all, and hope it all goes really well. And so here we are today. A good and honest man, that used to be good enough. It's not anymore, evidently, according to the press and the population. But that's what we have here in our leader, Dave, who's over there, who is a good and honest man. But as I say, that's not good enough anymore. He's an ideas man, a man of industry. And here in Flintshire, this man has highly contributed to people working here in Flintshire today. Got a record of that, and it's something we need to remember. The powerhouse of Wales, that's Flintshire. This is the manufacturing main source of industry in Wales and a big part of the UK today. A fractured country and a fractured UK, perhaps. Today, in this fractured country, this county, as is witnessed, is also fractured. Different leaders, different propositions, and that's the way it goes. And we don't always get what we want. Hold together, pull together, and we can, and we will become stronger with the leadership of stability and a record of that leadership and success. We'll be more respected for that as a council. And councillors aren't particularly respected anymore. There's so many of us, for one thing, and so many AMs. There's so many people serving as representatives. We need to become more respected by the people that elect us. A new council this time in this place next year, probably like the Welsh Government later on today, with 70% new members probably, will carry on from decisions we are now making today. And one of those decisions is the leader of this band, of this group, whatever you want to call us in this room today. So we'll start with the leader choice, and that's the solidarity of leadership and a record of leadership, not just in the council, but out there in the real world, if you like. And so we'll have a solidarity of leadership, or we'll have nervousness and chaos. So let's vote for Dave today. Let's move on for this final year of this term and bring this council forward stronger for the next council to take over. Thank you. I urge you to vote for Dave and just put aside your personal feelings and think of the county. Thank you.
Councillor Ian Hodge.
Thank you, Chair. At the Senate elections last week, over 51,000 votes, 51 and 90 to be exact, were cast for the Reform Party, many of them by the residents of Flintshire, indicating the desire for change. With the desire and need of the people for change, I hereby nominate the leader of the Reform Party on Flintshire County Council, Councillor Helen Brown, for leader of the council. Thank you.
And do we have a seconder for that? Sorry, Councillor Salkeld.
Chair, I'd like to second that, please. Thank you.
Councillor Alistair Ibbotson, please.
Madam Chair, it is my great pleasure and privilege to move the name of Councillor Sam Swash, leader of the Flintshire People's Voice Group, for leader of Flintshire County Council. Sam Swash's dedication as a ward councillor knows no bounds, as residents of Hardon and Mancock will attest. He is undoubtedly one of the hardest working, most dedicated members on this council. Councillor Swash also has the experience needed to do this role, with a previous life in self-employed, setting up his own business, and he has the policy chops to do so. What we have not heard in regard to the other nominees for this position is any suggestion of what it is that they stand for and what it is that they will do during their term in office. Flintshire People's Voice has a full manifesto, and under Councillor Swash's leadership, this council will make a real and lasting change to the lives of people in Flintshire. We will improve public transport in this area by setting up a municipal bus company that reinvests the profit from ticket sales back into the services to provide services to rural communities and our towns alike, regenerating town centres by giving people the chance to come in and spend in local businesses. We will build wealth in our communities with a plan for community wealth building that leverages this council's purchasing power to support genuine local businesses instead of multinational corporations. We will protect schools and children with a cast iron pledge. A Flintshire People's Voice run council will not mandate the closure of any school. We have set out a raft of policies that will better the lives of people in Flintshire, and we have a fully costed plan to deliver this. At the budget meeting back in February, Flintshire People's Voice was the only group to propose serious political choices, and in doing so proposed a council tax freeze for the people of Flintshire. Councillor Swash is the only candidate with the vision and the policy chops to deliver for the people of Flintshire. And so it is my great honour, privilege and pleasure to recommend his name to this council.
Do we have a seconder there, please? Thank you, Councillor G. Councillor David Coggins-Cogan.
Thank you, Chair. I rise to nominate Councillor Andrew Parkhurst to be leader of the council. Councillor Parkhurst is one of this authority's representatives on the WLGA, so he continues to press the case for Flintshire and making sure the needs of our residents are heard within the corridors of power. Despite being a first-term councillor, Councillor Parkhurst has made significant contributions to policy, including chairing various groups which have a real beneficial effect on people's lives in Flintshire. This year, he proposed a budget change which created funding for an extra 1,500 potholes to be repaired throughout Flintshire. These are the types of sort of sensible, real policies you can expect from a Lib Dem-run council. Councillor Parkhurst also has significant private sector experience and a proven ability to work with various groups, challenge when necessary and encourage when needed. Also, speaking personally, Councillor Parkhurst is an excellent group leader. It will be no surprise to you, Chair, that I am not easy to manage, and yet Councillor Parkhurst has managed that with considerable aplomb. So he has my wholehearted support. Thank you, Chair.
And Councillor Lister to second.
I will second that. Councillor Parkhurst is an excellent leader and would lead this council with integrity and honesty. Thank you.
Councillor Mike Pearce.
Okay. Firstly, congratulations, Chair, on your reappointment, and also to Councillor Coppell as Vice Chair. I hope you had a very successful year. Chair, at the start of the meeting, you made it quite clear that you wouldn't condone any heckling, but when Councillor Ibbotson stood up, the usual suspects in the back row were in chorus having a go. No one else has been heckled. I might get heckled, not a problem. But you made a clear instruction that that was not to be. But I rise because I have pleasure in putting forward the name of Councillor Carol Ellis as leader of the council. Following on from last week's demise of Labour in Wales, a fresh start beckons. Labour has been rejected in Wales following the election. People have spoken and they want change. Following on, I think the people of Flintshire have demonstrated too that they want change. Councillor Ellis's experience as a councillor over more than 20 years, as a member of the previous council's executive and chair of scrutiny, her experience will be invaluable in leading this council forward for the municipal year and as we head towards the elections in 2027. We've looked at the very structure of this organisation, and one of the main priorities is education, but I think everything things that's on everyone's mind, of course, are the potholes. Let's get them fixed. So I do have pleasure in putting the name forward of Councillor Ellis, and I hope you would support the nomination. Thank you, Chair.
And Councillor Marion Bateman.
Thank you, Chair, and many congratulations. And you've stolen my crown now of being 2 years in succession, but I couldn't think of anyone better to hand it to. And congratulations, Councillor Coppell. I couldn't think of anyone better to second for this position than Councillor Carol Ellis. She is a strong woman in every sense of the way and absolutely dedicated to Flintshire. So I would second that. Thank you.
I'll just hand over to Gareth to explain it.
Are there any other nominations, Chair?
Oh, yes. So, are there any other nominations? No.
So, Chair, I don't know whether there are any speakers either, Chair, about those, because we have 5 candidates, and it's a slightly different voting procedure where there are 5. If there aren't any other speakers, Chair, I'll run through the voting procedure. The procedure is that we will, as previously, go through in alphabetical order, asking for the total number, the number of people in support of each candidate. If any candidate receives an outright majority in the first round of voting, then they will be elected leader. There are 62 councillors in the chair, so if anybody receives 32 votes in the first round of voting, they will be elected as leader. If nobody achieves an outright majority, then we eliminate the candidate, not literally, but we discount the candidate with fewest votes, and then we take a second round of voting, and so on and so forth, until we get down to just 2, and then we revert back to whoever gets more is elected. So there might be a number of rounds of voting if we don't have that outright majority in the first round. So we have a
Councillor Palmer.
Sorry, Chair, you went through that like Sonic the Hedgehog there. Can you confirm that when we go round, it's just the name of the person we're supporting? Yeah, not all the time.
So, Chair, it is. I was just about to say it is a recorded vote. So what I will do is I will go through the names alphabetically, and I will ask for the name of the candidate that councillor wishes to support. Does everybody's got the full list, have they? So it's Brown, Ellis, Hughes, Parkhurst, Swash. Okay, right then, Chair. So I will run through Councillor Glimbanks.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Thank you. Councillor Pam Banks.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Thank you. Councillor Bateman. That's Councillor Ellis. Where people are using the microphone, I won't repeat back the vote. Where people aren't, I'll repeat back the vote so that people online can hear for whom you voted. Councillor Bibby.
Councillor David Hughes.
Councillor Bithell.
Councillor David Hughes.
Councillor Broccoli online.
Councillor Sam Swash.
Thank you. Councillor Brown.
Councillor Brown.
Councillor Brown. Got me worried for a minute then when you paused. Councillor Carberry online.
Councillor David Hughes.
Thank you. Councillor Claydon.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Councillor Coggins-Cogan.
Councillor Andrew Parkhurst.
Councillor Collett.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Councillor Crease.
Councillor David Hughes.
Councillor Paul Cunningham.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Thank you. Councillor Rob.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Thank you. And Councillor Ron Davis.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Thank you. Councillor Davis Cook.
Councillor Carol Ellis.
Thank you. Councillor Chris Dolphin.
Dave Hughes.
Thank you. And Councillor Rosetta Dolphin.
Dave Hughes.
Thank you. Councillor Eastwood.
Councillor Hughes.
Okay. Councillor Ellis. So that was a vote for Councillor Ellis. Councillor David Evans.
Councillor David Hughes.
Thank you. Councillor G. To vote for Councillor Sam Swash. Councillor David Healy.
Dave Hughes.
Thank you. Councillor Gladys Healy.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Thank you. Councillor Hodge.
Brown.
Councillor Brown. Councillor Andy Hughes.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Councillor David Hughes.
Dave Hughes.
Thank you. Councillor Hutchinson.
Councillor Ellis.
So that was Councillor Ellis. Councillor Ibbotson.
Sam Swash.
Thank you. Councillor Paul Johnson. Thank you. Councillor Christine Jones.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Councillor Richard Jones.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Councillor Lister.
The Parkhurst.
So that's Councillor Parkhurst. Councillor Richard Lloyd.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Thank you. Councillor Mackey.
Councillor Ellis.
Yes. Thank you. Councillor Madison.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Okay. Councillor Mansell. Councillor Ellis. Thank you. Councillor Marshall.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Councillor McGuill. Councillor Mullin.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Thank you. Councillor Owen. That was Councillor Brown. Councillor Palmer.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Councillor Parkhurst. Okay, thank you. That was Councillor Parkhurst. Councillor Pearce.
Councillor Carol Ellis.
Councillor Michelle, perfect. Thank you. And Councillor Vicky, perfect.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Thank you. Councillor Priest.
Councillor Sam Swash.
Thank you. Councillor Richardson.
Councillor Helen Brown.
Thanks. Councillor Roberts. We can. You're not on mute, Councillor Roberts. Oh, but we can't. We can't hear you.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
There we go. Thank you.
That's twice IT have sorted my sound out.
Councillor Rose.
Councillor Swash.
Thank you. Councillor Rush.
Councillor David Hughes.
That was Councillor Hughes. Thank you. Councillor Solkeld. That was Councillor Brown. Councillor Sylvester.
Councillor Ellis.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Jason Shawcross.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Yes, thank you. Councillor Swash. Councillor Swash. Yep. Thank you. Councillor Thew. Okay, thank you. Councillor Linda Thomas. Okay, thank you. Councillor Wakelam.
Councillor Parkhurst.
Thank you. Councillor Woolley.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Thank you. Councillor Wren.
Councillor Parkhurst.
Thank you. So, Councillor Coppell.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Councillor Hughes and Councillor Buckley.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Thank you, everybody. Excuse me, members, while I just do some quick. Dave. What? No. No. Do, so that's the right number. That goes up to the right numbers. So, Chair. Sorry, people could probably hear me doing adding up in my head as I was going along. So the results are as follows, Chair. Councillor Brown 5 votes, Councillor Ellis 10 votes, Councillor Hughes 36 votes, Councillor Parkhurst 5 votes, and Councillor Swash 6 votes.
Yeah, I declare the leader of the council for the municipal year is Councillor Dave Hughes. Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to thank everybody that voted here today, it's my aim to try and get us to work all together, because I think the forthcoming year is going to be very difficult, and we need to be as one if we possibly can. I think it's one of those situations where we've never been in before as such, with the pressures that's going to be on us. And I think there's 2 words I'd like to say: bold and brave. We need to be brave and we need to be bold. There's some of the decisions that we have to make may not all be palatable, but nevertheless we've got a council to run, and we'll do our utmost to do that. Thank you very much.
To go on to agenda item number 8, and that's the appointment of the cabinet by the leader of the council.
Apologies, Chair. Councillor Cunningham has a hand raised.
I beg your pardon. Councillor Cunningham, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I apologise. I've got to leave the meeting now as I've got a family funeral to go to.
Thank you, Councillor Cunningham. I now invite the leader to announce the members of the Cabinet.
Thank you, Chair. I think the Cabinet this year has done an extremely good job under the circumstances. So I propose to keep the Cabinet as is for the forthcoming year. There may be a change later on. Thank you.
Can I get a mover and a seconder to note the membership of the Cabinet, please? Councillor David Healy and a seconder, Councillor Sean Bibby. So the proposal has been moved and seconded. Can we have a show of hands, please? It's just to note. Sorry.
That's character, Chair.
Can I just ask for clarification, please?
Of course you can, Councillor Ellis.
Thank you, Chair. So when Councillor Hughes said he's keeping the Cabinet the same as last year, it can't be the same as last year, can it? Unless, is Councillor Brown still in the position of Chair of Housing? So that's not the same as last year, is it? So the Chair of Housing, the Cabinet position, Councillor Hughes made reference to there could be a change further on. Well, can we just ask, is that going to be an additional, will Helen Brown be replaced as Cabinet member by another member of the coalition? Or is that position gone? It's just for clarity so that we understand the situation. Thank you very much.
Councillor Dave Hughes.
Yeah, at the moment, both Councillor Johnson and myself has been looking after housing and communities. And that was done when Councillor Brown was taken off the Cabinet. That's how it will stand for the immediate future. Until no.
Councillor Mike Pearce.
Until.
We have a little bit of order, please. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate the leader of the council, and congratulations, by the way, Councillor Hughes. The agenda item 8 is the appointment of the Cabinet. Now, for the benefit of people online, to simply say it's the same as last year, perhaps a lot of people don't know what was in place last year. It's been tradition where the leader will read out the Cabinet position and allocate the said name. I've listened to his comments regarding housing, but my question would be, is the leader of the council satisfied with the performance of his Cabinet members, or is this change prompted by perhaps a reduced performance in one particular area? We just don't know. We can only speculate. So it would have been better if the Cabinet positions had been read out with the names for the benefit of people online. And I accept there's going to be a change, but it would be useful to know what decision the leader's made as to why he thinks that's changed. If the position has, if the Cabinet member is now not in that position, that's a straightforward change. But as long as it's that only reason, it's reasonable to perhaps consider he does want to make changes. It's in the leader's prerogative. It's not a council decision. It's nothing that we can do. But as members of the council, we do like to see clarity and transparency. And at the moment, Chair, we don't have that. Thank you.
Councillor Brown.
Yeah, thank you. My name has been mentioned, so to provide a little bit of clarity, yes, I was a member of the Cabinet for Communities and Housing. When I joined Reform UK, I was removed for political implications, and I'm not sure if this is the well, Gareth, you will advise, if there is a vacancy on the cabinet, that means that there is an SRA floating round. And given that the Constitution has sat for over, I think it was 20 working groups, it's sat for 4 meetings over the last 6 months, and whether that SRA could then be put to the chair of the Constitution Committee, which has met a whole lot more than some of the other chairs which do hold an SRA currently. Thank you.
Chair, we set the schedule of member remuneration typically at the July meeting. That's where we set and agree which committee chairs are remunerated. At the moment, it's not. That would be the opportunity to move the suggestion that Councillor Brown's put forward.
Councillor Ibbotson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm now incredibly confused, and I hope that you'll bear with me in trying to resolve this confusion. Councillor Hughes has initially said that his cabinet remains unchanged. Obviously, if his cabinet has changed in the last few weeks, that would need to be reported to the next council meeting as in line with the Constitution. And Councillor Hughes hasn't reported any change that has already taken place in his cabinet to this council meeting. And then he's announced that his cabinet is to remain unchanged. Then there has been a change during the meeting to his cabinet, where he appears to have just sacked Councillor Brown from 10 minutes ago when he said his cabinet was unchanged to 5 minutes ago when he said it was changed. So my commiserations to Councillor Brown on her 5 minute ago sacking, which obviously didn't take place a couple of weeks prior. So that's new information. But on that point, he's then said that he and Councillor Johnson are taking the cabinet position for housing, at least on an interim basis. So have they been appointed to that role and therefore have the powers and duties of the cabinet member for that portfolio? Is that a job share position, or are the responsibilities being divided between them in some way? I think that what would help at this juncture is if the leader of the council would announce his cabinet. Obviously, if it was remaining unchanged, then simply saying it's unchanged would be enough. And we were under the impression that his cabinet was remaining unchanged when he said it remained unchanged. Now he's changing it. I think that, to quote his deputy leader from the last time that we had this mess where the leader of the council didn't read out his cabinet, it would be good if he would read it out, just the top bit, read it out, just read it out, read it out.
Councillor Palmer.
Thank you, Chair. I think the leader's already stated his case on what his cabinet is. Cabinet is always subject to change all year round. Somebody can resign, somebody can be ill. It's always subject to change.
So we've had the mover and seconder for this. Can we just have a show of hands? Oh, we did. Sorry, beg your pardon. We took the vote. We took the vote. And we'll move on. Thank you. So that's the end of agenda item number 8. And at this point, we're going to break for lunch, some refreshments. And we'll see you all back here in 1:15. Yeah.
All rise, please, for the Chair of Flintshire County Council.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Pronounced out and welcome back. We will continue with the agenda and we'll move on to agenda item number 9. It's constitutional issues, including committees. The Chief Officer for Governance will now take us through this report, section by section. It is an important report and each recommendation must be considered separately. There must be a mover and a seconder for each recommendation.
Thank you, Chair. We took the luncheon adjournment just before this report, so you've had an opportunity to rebuild your strength ready for this report, which is always a long one, I'm afraid, councillors. So you will see that the recommendations are listed in order at the front of the report, and that as each goes through in turn, there's a few paragraphs explaining the points. And there are, as I have highlighted within the executive summary, changes this year, a few points to note, some of difference and some of things that will be coming up during the forthcoming municipal year. So the first one's just about appointing the committee structure. You can see that in paragraph 1.01, list all the committees and note in paragraph 1.02 that the panel assessment recommended that we review our scrutiny function. They're talking largely about how the scrutiny function operates, but that might include, in due course, a review of the numbers of scrutiny committees. I don't know. We will carry out that review with you as councillors, and it will be for you to decide. But I've just put that caveat there. So that's the first recommendation, Chair.
So do we have a proposer for that first recommendation, please? Councillor Dave Mackey, and a seconder, please. Councillor Ted Palmer. Thank you.
Anybody wish to speak, Chair?
Anybody like to speak on that? No, I see a lot of head shaking. Yep, so we'll take that to the vote. A show of hands of all those in favour of that recommendation, please. In the room and online.
Everybody.
It does look like everybody. Yeah, that's carried.
Next, Chair, is determining the size of committees. You will see the explanation we've talked about. It's been a little while since we conducted a review, but we've set the size of most committees at around about 12 because that works best. It gives us the opportunity to get in political balance, although that might change going forward. Some committees, such as the Governance and Audit Committee, there are special rules around membership, and you will see from the table at the bottom of page 8 that there are 3 co-optees on there in order to make sure that it coincides with the legislation. You will see that likewise the Standards Committee has a lot of co-optees on it. Planning Committee and the Constitution and Democratic Services Committee is slightly larger. Planning Committee in itself has quite a lot of detailed legislative rules around, and we have later on in the report the details of how we will appoint to that committee, because those rules are quite prescriptive in terms of making that not then only being one member from each ward, and how we break that deadlock if there needed to be. If we needed to break a deadlock in having 2 people from the same ward wanting to sit on that committee. So, Chairs, the size of the committee is there, Chair, at paragraph 1.06.
Councillor Mike Pearce.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Recommendation 2 refers to section 104, and at the end of the first paragraph, it says, as Mr. Owen has explained, it was agreed that 12 was an appropriate size for most committees, with Planning and Constitution Democratic Services Committee being slightly larger. Now, it doesn't say why they're slightly larger, but from experience as a member of the Planning Committee, we are 5 above what feels right in the report. Now, I'm sure Councillor Lloyd might agree with me here that on a number of occasions, the attendance has been rather light on the planning committee, and we've come close a couple of times to not being quorate. So I'm just wondering whether 17 is the right number or whether 15 would be more appropriate, keeping it slightly larger than normal committees, because not being quorate means pretty much we can't deal with the business anyway. So I'll make that a proposal then, that planning goes to 15. If it's rejected for various reasons, that's fine, but I'm just putting it forward to try and alleviate the problems of not filling the seats because of the quorate issue. Thank you.
Chair, members will be aware that we have a political balance, or we have two allocations of possible allocations for political balance on the agenda. They're based on a committee size of 17. If people wanted to support the suggestion, could I suggest that it comes into effect from the next time we do political balance, which is likely to be the 8th of June. And that way we can proceed today without having to go away and sort out a fresh political balance, but we don't lose track of the idea if people wish to support it. So if we just pick a slightly later implementation date, we can go ahead today and we can still take that forward if people wish to.
Councillor Pearce?
Yes, thank you. It doesn't mean to say it's been dismissed. It just means that we'll look at it at a later date, and it makes sense to do it in a political balance. So I'll accept that. Thank you.
Is there a seconder that change the date, that change the size of it?
Councillor Richard Lloyd.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I tend to agree with Councillor Pearce because, you know, there's often been a case where I've literally been counting people coming into the room, and if we don't get the 9, you know, we're not going to be chorus. So, but yeah, if it will cause confusion, you know, at this meeting, I would agree that to look at political balance again, over reducing the numbers on the planning committee at a later date. I think that's a good idea. Thank you.
Councillor. Yeah. Councillor Bateman. Councillor Ellis, likewise, and Councillor Paul Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. I would disagree wholeheartedly with that proposal. The issues that Councillor Pearce was outlining, precisely because for the past year or so, it has been existing and operating on 15 anyway. So the issues that have been raised about needing members and whatever, I find that doesn't work. Now, I don't come this as cabinet. I come to this looking at it as a member of that committee. And I'll be quite honest, and I think I've said it in the past, that committee is unique. Whenever you go on that committee, I'm sure any member of that committee will agree with me, you're making decisions which sometimes when you're looking the person who has made an application or is going to be impacted by that application in the face. It's quite, sometimes it's been very, very difficult as a councillor to go and do. Now, I believe very strongly that on important, and there have been many, many contentious and important planning issues, that the smaller you go and make your planning committee, if people are away, so let's forget, you can't be substituted onto this committee. So if people are ill, they may be on holiday for whatever, they may stay away. The numbers that you are getting on that committee get smaller and smaller. I don't know, one very contentious issue, I'm sure I'm not mentioning it here, which I personally felt fell down to far too few people to be making the decision on that. So my inclination, I'm against this proposal, is that where planning decisions are made, they must be made by the largest number of people, which is practical. I think that 17 is a good one. Plus, when those decisions are made, they need to be from all groups on the council, because it is your duty as a councillor to go and serve on that committee at some time. So just trying to reiterate, 17, I think we keep at that and we don't change it.
Councillor Biddle.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I've been on the committee for many, many years, and I would certainly agree with the comments that have been made by Councillor Johnson. You know, the more members you have on it, the more likelihood you've got a good attendance, really, even though some people cannot come for whatever reason. The smaller the committee, one or two are unable to attend, you're left with a small rump, really, of a committee to make the decisions. Furthermore, planning applications and planning decisions affect all parts of the county at some time or other. And again, it's important that we do try to get that spread. I know there are rules there which do not allow so 2 members from one ward on the committee, which is right and proper. But we do try to make sure that there is a spread, that people are able to be sitting on that committee and being involved in those particular decisions, representing the people in those particular areas. So I would be certainly against the actual reduction in numbers of the committee from the current 17. As the report points out, you know, again, in some councils in the past, they've had every member of the council on the planning committee, such as the importance of these decisions and the views of some people. That has now been reduced here, just as well. But again, I think if we go with all the current 17, I think we run into some difficulties of excluding the views and opinions of people in those areas affected by applications. And I think that's a move in the wrong direction. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Batesman.
Thank you, Chair. Whilst I agree with the proposition that we have 5 committee members on planning, I just wanted to disagree with Councillor Johnson. Far be it from me, but there you go. Take a deep breath and off I go. He said that the planning committee was unique as it is a decision-making committee. Well, I think that you'll find that licensing is also a decision-making committee, so it's not unique for that reason. Thank you.
Councillor Sean Bibby.
Yeah, thanks very much, Madam Chair. And I think just also as member of the planning committee, obviously listened quite intently. I would say that both Councillor Biffle and Councillor Pearce are 2 members that I think have incredible amount of experience on that committee, and 2 members that I listen to very attentively and usually seek advice. I think my concern would be a reduction in the number of the numbers in the planning committee. Again, I think some of the matters have been raised. You know, if we have illnesses, it's a committee we cannot place subs on, which I think puts it in a rather unique position. Personally, I'm just a bit concerned we reduce the numbers, we're reducing the scope of members that we can have to fill in case there are members who are unable to attend for whatever reason.
Councillor Gladys Healy.
Thank you, Chair Diokumba. I am a member of the planning, and I think we should keep it at 17 members because it is unique. It is. We make a decision there for housing for the people of Lincolnshire and for the good of people of Lincolnshire. As well, I would like to say, if we reduce it, there is already 2 seats that hasn't been taken up. And if we reduce it, what happens when those 2 seats aren't taken up? I think we should not reduce it. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you, Chair. I would agree with Councillor Pearce. I do think the size of the committee does need to increase. As a member of that committee, I've seen the chair be under pressure as to whether that committee is going to take place on quite a few occasions. And that's a lot of pressure. And it would be quite embarrassing then if a planning committee cannot actually function, if you like. It is unfortunate, and I know it's not down to Flintshire County Council, that we can no longer have substitutes on that, because that, so long as members were trained, that always resolved the situation. There's always going to be this situation where someone could be ill, someone is on holiday, there's an emergency, so a member can't attend. So if there are more surely there's more chance of more people attending. It's like if you're getting a lottery ticket, the more lottery tickets you've got, the more chances you've got of winning. It's the same thing, isn't it? The more people you've got on that committee, the more chance you've got of them attending. That's just the way I think of it. Sorry, I wasn't asking for your opinion. It was my turn to speak. If you want to speak, put your hand up and speak.
Councillor Richard Jones.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I think the point here is, and I understand what Councillor Pearce and Councillor Ellis and Councillor Bateman have said about being chorused. Well, if the members of groups took up their seats on the planning committee, we wouldn't have that issue. So the point here is not to reduce the size to accommodate certain groups. It's for those groups to attend the meeting that they actually assigned to. That's the point. And I think that those groups need to be reminded that they are part of the planning process and they need to attend on those planning committees. Thank you.
No more speakers in chair. So, Chair, I suggest that we take the size of the planning committee first as an issue, and then we deal with the size of, and then we decide where we go with that, and then we can deal with the size of the other committees. So, the resolution, Chair, as I understand it, and I'll just looking at Councillor Pearce now just to double check this captures what he wants, is that the size of the planning committee is reduced to 15 with effect from the next time we calculate political balance. It's likely to, might be the 8th of June. If it isn't, then we've got a scheduled meeting in July, but we know we've got a by-election coming up, and after the by-election we have to do a fresh PB calculation. So it'll either be next month or the month after. That captures it. So, Chair, that's the resolution.
Yeah, can I remove my seconding of that policy?
Pardon?
Remove my seconding of that.
Okay.
No. Yeah. In that case, we're looking for another seconder for that. So I know Councillor Bateman wanted to second that previously, so that has been seconded. Point of order, Councillor Ibbotson.
Thank you. There is no provision in the Constitution by which a seconder may withdraw from seconding a motion. The proposer may withdraw the motion, but a seconder can't withdraw their seconding of it. One has to be certain that one likes what one is seconding before one does it. We did have this issue at one of the council's overview and scrutiny committees recently, and there was a clear ruling that no, you cannot withdraw seconding once one has seconded it. The question is whether the proposal is being withdrawn. The mover of the motion can do that, and it would appear that they are not doing so. So I suggest, for the accuracy of the minutes, that Councillor Lloyd is recorded as the seconder of this item.
My understanding is that you cannot remove your indication to second it, so you remain as the seconder.
So, Chair, do you want to go to the vote, Chair?
Yeah, so we'll take the vote on that to reduce the size of the planning committee down to 15 as recommended by Councillor Mike Pearce. So can we have a show of hands for all those in favour of reducing the size of that committee? Thank you. All those against reducing the size of the committee, please show your hands now.
That's lost in, isn't it? That's 40 against.
And for clarity, any abstentions? Which is there? Oh, none. One. None. Oh.
So, Chair, we then need to approve the size of the committees. we're looking for somebody to move either what's in the... It was 13 for and 40 against. 4 and 40 against. So we need somebody to move either what's in the report for the size of committee's chair or something else.
Councillor Bibby.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. I'd just like to formally move the substantive motion. Move the substantive motion, which is part 2, as written in the report.
Councillor Lloyd, Richard Lloyd.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'd just like to second that proposition, and just to request that the members on the planning committee who are politically balanced and given those positions, please turn up and represent their residents on that committee. Thank you.
Accept that one. A show of hands, please, of all those in favour of us.
Might not be entirely unanimous, Chair, but certainly carried.
All those against? No abstentions. Abstentions, yeah. 2 abstentions, I think. Gareth in the room. 3. 4. It's going up.
So
show of hands for the abstentions then, please.
There's
definitely 4.
I heard 4. I heard 4 people shout out, and at least 1 or 5 abstentions. So, Chair, next it's about the terms of reference. Chair, you will see mention in the report about the constitutional review. The constitutional review looked at our processes. It didn't look at the terms of reference of the committees, which are by and large reviewed each year or as and when necessary, so that they remain up to date. So even though we will debate changes to the constitution next month, nothing should change to the terms of reference of the committees unless subsequently, as part of the scrutiny review, we decide we want a different number of committees or we want to move those terms of reference around.
Councillor Sean Bibby.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'd just like to formally move recommendation 3 as written in the report.
Do we have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Ted Palmer. And then a show of hands for all those in favour.
Unanimous, Chair.
Councillor Ibbotson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In relation to recommendation 4, I move the political balance as set out on page 19 of the document pack. This was brought to group leaders by the Flintshire People's Voice group and received support at group leaders from all present. We understand that the Labour group subsequently went away and considered it and said that they would support it. I'm not sure if they've since said that they now won't, but nonetheless, this was supported by the leaders of the other groups. It also crucially ensures continuity of membership of the Governance and Audit Committee, which otherwise Councillor Woolley would lose that seat to Flintshire People's Voice. It's been the express wish of this council that the membership of the Governance and Audit Committee remain constant. There is also nobody within our group who is trained and able to immediately take that seat, so there would be a period when that committee would be short of members. It is a very important committee and it has a small membership of elected members, so we think that it would be in the general interest of council if that change was not made. This addresses those concerns and also addresses other issues with regards to committees, including swaps requested at that group leaders meeting by the independent group as well, which we've incorporated, and we're grateful to the independent group and other groups for their constructive engagement with this. The Norwegian painter Edvard Munch in 1893 painted his picture The Scream. Now, there is a suggestion amongst art critics that that was in response to watching this council discuss political balance, hopefully having had group leaders meetings in advance, having worked constructively together, we can avoid our usual performance here and pass this in a ringing endorsement of the principle of us cooperating in advance. I therefore hope that we can do this, and I put myself in the hands of members of this council that we avoid the kind of mess we have had in previous meetings.
Do we have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Sam Swash. Are there any other propositions? Councillor Johnson.
Thank you. Am I correct here, Chair, to go? I'd like to propose the officer's recommendation. Or does that have to come as an amendment to what we're discussing? Grateful for the clarity.
That would be an amendment.
In that case, Chair, I move the amendment.
So, Chair, just for clarity, a couple of members said they couldn't hear. Councillor Johnson was asking whether, if you wished to move the officer's recommendation, also in the paper, that would be an amendment. And the advice was it would be an amendment, so he has moved that as an amendment. And, Chair, I don't know whether there is a second of that.
Sorry.
So,
Councillor Johnson has moved the recommendation on page 17.
Yes.
Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Sean Bibby. And I think Councillor Coggins-Cogan indicated he'd like to speak.
So, now that there is an amendment, Chair, of course, members should be addressing their comments to the amendment.
Can we have a bit of hush, please? You've all asked me on the break that we stop the little chitter chatter when we all had our lunch. You said it was quite distracting, so just remind you of that at your own request as well. Thank you.
Thank you,
Councillor.
Chair. Just advice from the monitoring officer. Is this not a negating amendment? Because the original motion is for this particular composition of the council, and surely this amendment completely negates that proposition and replaces it with something wholesale of a different composition of the council. So is that not a negating amendment, and should it not be properly that we have a vote on the original motion? Then if that fails, then a subsequent motion can be presented with an alternative political balance. Thank you, Chair.
There are some similarities, Chair, between the allocations, so I don't think it is a wholesale negating, but if you want to take it sequentially rather than as an amendment, Chair, then that is within your gift, I would suggest.
Councillor Carol Ellis.
Thank you, Chair. So group leaders met and we all sat round a table and we all agreed that we were going to try and behave like grown-ups. And we would take the proposals back to our groups for agreement so that we didn't have the circus which normally takes place in the chamber. So we all sat there and that was agreed. And here we are, once again, group leaders all group leaders were asked, by the way, and all group leaders come back to say it had been agreed. Yes, here we are, once again, Chair, with the circus. Doesn't make sense to me. What's the point of having group leaders meeting and speaking round a table on behalf of all the groups, taking the information back to the group, not making decisions on behalf of the group, but taking that information back? What is the point of wasting officers' time, wasting group leaders' time and groups' time? It's just a statement. It's just, I find it ridiculous, Chair. Ridiculous. Thank you very much.
Councillor Mike Pearce.
Right, thank you. Madam Chair. It seemed reasonable, the proposal put forward by Councillor Ibbotson. The fact that this was an agreement made at the group leaders. Unfortunately, Councillor Johnson joined in and confusion reigns, which I do have to say does happen on occasions. So if this, page 19, you know, the political balance on page 19, if that's been agreed at group leaders, including swaps, you know, so I'm fairly confident that it's been agreed. And yet we come to the meeting today and it appears that the rug has been pulled from under the feet of the group leaders, and we're left with this, which was described an officer's recommendation. Well, what about the councillors' recommendation? It's the councillors who make up the committees. The councillors have discussed this at group leaders. So I would be voting with what's on page 19. It sounds reasonable to me, and the proposal from Councillor Johnson is, quite frankly, bizarre. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Helen Brown.
Yeah, thank you. Can I just also say that this was discussed at group leaders. It was agreed at group leaders. The initial document that we went through was not acceptable because reform were left off the committee, which is CROSS, which is probably one of the most important committees where it deals with finance. So when we raised that as an issue, so what you're seeing now on page 19 is what was agreed by group leaders, and I will be supporting that. Thank you.
Councillor Paul Johnson.
I'm sorry.
Councillor Ibbotson.
Thank you.
Councillor Johnson has spoken on his own amendment. He cannot speak again unless he is in the narrow confines of where a councillor may in the Constitution. He has had the opportunity to make his case for what it is that he wants as an amendment and why he wants to do it, and he has done so. So he can't speak again.
Councillor Johnson did speak to move the amendment. Absolutely. Spoke once to ask a question and then moved the amendment subsequently. So that counts as speaking within the debate, Chair. Chair, I don't want to get into what should be the realms of councillors. What I will say is that what is at page 17 was an initial recommendation put forward by officers, because of course as officers we advise and we put forward suggestions. It has been amended to reflect some of the discussion that took place within group leaders. So Councillor Brown made the point about reform not having a seat on cross. You will see that that is reflected in there. So what we've done is we've amended as far as possible as officers. We've reflected that which was put forward by the FPV, which was again changed and adapted in light of the discussion. And so there are changes that are common to the FPV's suggestion on page 19 to the one on page 17, because those were the areas where, as officers, we could see there was agreement, and where there wasn't agreement, the two differ. So that was the kind of history to get us to this place. Where we talk about this as being an officer's recommendation, of course we put forward recommendations. We have tried to pick up and reflect some of the discussion of group leaders within there. Still two perfectly valid options, Chair.
Councillor Sam Swash.
Thank you, Chair. I would echo the comments made by Councillor Ellis. FPV put forward the version of political balance, which was agreed by all of the groups in that meeting, apart from Labour. It was then indicated to us that Labour had subsequently agreed to it. It seems that now has been changed. Indeed, Councillor Paul Johnson was in the room, and yet here he is moving an amendment. Just about 20 minutes ago, the leader of the council stood up and talked about how we all need to start working together. And I could hear, rather indiscreetly as usual, Councillor Richard Jones telling Paul Johnson to get up and move an amendment. So this is an opportunity for Councillor Dave Hughes to show who the real leader of this council is and lead by example.
Go ahead, Councillor Jones.
Yeah, can I just confirm that on page 19, if page 19 is put forward as an amendment.
Excuse me, Councillor Jones. Point of order, Councillor Coggins-Coe.
Thank you, Chair. I'm hesitant to cut across Councillor Jones, and it's not out of discourtesy, but he can't make a point of clarification because he hasn't spoken in this debate. You can only make that clarification to clarify what you've already said. He hasn't spoken yet, so that it's not a valid point of clarification, Chair. I would suggest to you and the monitoring officer your determination, obviously.
Chair, it is a point of personal explanation within the rules rather than a point of clarification, and it is to clarify something that appears to have been misunderstood, said previously in the debate. I think, however, Councillor Jones was the next person to speak, so this will count as his one contribution to the debate, though, Chair. This will count as him speaking rather than a point of personal explanation or a point of order, which would enable him to speak again.
That's correct, yeah. Councillor Richard Jones is next to speak.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I appreciate that. My point on this is that I will vote against page 19, the FPV one, regardless. And the reason I'll do that is because actually, in terms of numbers, the FPV should take 2 seats on planning committee, but they seem to have been reduced to 1. Even though the number against them is 1.52, it should signify a movement upwards towards 2. They need to take their seats. They need to do it properly. They need to do it when it comes to planning committee. They need to take their 2 seats. So the whole purpose of this is so that they only get 1 seat, because then they don't have to take it and they can have it on another committee. I'm sorry, that's not going to wash. And can I just make a question then to the monitoring officer while I'm on my feet? If one person actually votes against this option on page 19, that fails. Just one person votes against it, it fails. Is that correct?
So, Chair, we have, I can explain this in the past in relation to previous allocations or in political balance where we took some committees out of consideration. So previously we had taken the employment committees out of consideration, and because of that we were departing from the rules of political balance. Because we were departing from the rules of political balance, the legislation puts a safeguard in place that any one person voting against can veto it. Those committees, those employment committees, are now considered as part of the overall calculation, and so both of the options are passable on a majority vote. Nobody can veto them, but they do still need, obviously, the normal majority to pass.
Okay. Councillor Ted Palmer.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Much has been said about what was agreed by group leaders. However, as an individual councillor, I have the right to vote how I want, same as everybody else. And if we want to vote for something different, that's entirely up to us. Thank you.
So, Chair, yes, the order in which we take the vote was put to you. It was put forward as an amendment, and I gave you the advice that you could either take Councillor Johnson's suggestion as an amendment, or you could just take them sequentially and vote on Councillor Ibbetson's motion first.
Councillor Ibbetson provided reply. I was just checking.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are 3 points that I think it's important to make in response to the debate. The first and foremost is, what is it that the Cabinet has against the Eagles maintaining their governance and audit seat? Why are they so determined to take that off the Eagle group? I can't see it myself, and Flintshire People's Voice would gladly take that. There will be a period of interruption where the Council's Audit Committee is liable to inquiracy, but you know, we'd gladly have it. But we're happy to work constructively with the Eagles, with a coalition group, for the general good of this council and to meet with the council's previously expressed wishes that the membership of that committee remain constant. I don't think anybody on this council, or I didn't before this debate, would find fault with Councillor Woolley's performance. Certainly I don't. So I am unclear why, against all the previously expressed wishes of this council, the Cabinet now wants to put forward motions changing that. If there is a good explanation for it, we've yet to hear it. Secondly, the Deputy Leader, Councillor Jones, made a point about planning committee places and allocations. And so I would appreciate if members would now turn to page 19 of the bundle, because this is
Sorry, Councillor Ibbotson, can I just remind you, as stated at the beginning, that we expect councillors who are engaging in debate to address through the chair, not to the back of the room. Thank you.
So if members look at page 19, within the Flintshire People's Voice column for planning seats, they will note quite correctly, as Councillor Jones says, that 1.52 is rounded down to 1 rather than up to 2. If they look one column to the left at the independent column, they will see that 2.54, a greater marginal entitlement to that planning seat, is rounded up to 3. Now, if members skip 2 pages backwards to page 17 in the bundle and have a look at the Flintshire People's Voice column there, we can see 1.52 is rounded up, but 2.54 is rounded down. So Councillor Jones says that anybody who has that degree of entitlement to a planning seat, greater than half, should take it. Why is he trying to get his group, who have a greater entitlement to that seat, off that committee? By his own argument, by his own logic, that the people with the highest entitlement should take those seats, the independents need to have 3. And that would come at the expense of Flintshire People's Voices allocation on that committee. So I hope that he will apologise for the impugning of my motives and the motives of my group that he's done there, because frankly, the numbers don't lie. His group has a greater entitlement to that seat, and indeed was keen to take it at group leaders. Now, this does call into question, as colleagues have said, the point of having discussions in advance. So, are we going to say that everything that's agreed in advance, that the word of councillors who sit in this chamber cannot be trusted when they give it to other groups? Are we going to say that the Eagles, with their long-established presence on that Governance and Audit Committee, where they are doing a good job and where continuity of membership is important, should lose that seat? And are we going to say that groups with a lower marginal entitlement have to take seats on planning committee, whereas groups with a higher entitlement don't, because Richard Jones struggles to Madam Chair, point of clarification is not a reason to interrupt a member. He may speak after me if it's a genuine point of clarification, but he does not have the right to interrupt. It is not a point of order. Or are we going to accept that because Councillor Jones failed to look at the numbers in his own column before making his accusations against my group, we're going to assign planning seats on a whim? We've got to be sensible about this. If our word means anything, then we will vote for this political balance. Do right by the Eagles, do right on governance and audit, do right on planning committee, and do right by the word of members of this chamber. Can that word be trusted or not? I hope yes, but it is in the hands of the coalition.
Ooh. Right on time there. Thank you, Councillor Ibbotson. Councillor Jones, was it a point of personal explanation?
So first of all, the FPV have put down that they wish to take a planning seat. But how strange that they have never attended a planning committee. So why would they put themselves down? And I will answer my clarification. My point is,
Councillor Jones, that wasn't a point of personal explanation.
The numbers don't appear correct, because we take our seats. If we say 2, it's 2 we're going to take, and if it's 3, we will take. But for the FPV, they don't wish to take their seat. So by reducing it from 2 to 1, this is the point. They use that seat, which they should take on the planning committee, to use on another committee within the council. That's not right. That's my point of personal explanation. Thank you.
We've still got quite a lot of business to get through this afternoon, right? So I'm going to move to the vote. I'll just explain to you now, Councillor Hutchinson. So what we're going to vote on now is the version of political balance on page 19. We've moved to the vote. Sorry, Councillor Coggins. Yeah, Councillor Ibbotson had the last word. The right to reply is the last word on the debate. So, yeah, I've taken the final speaker. I'm sorry. Yeah, we've moved to the vote. Sorry about that. So, all those in favour for the version of political balance as on page 19, please indicate by raising your hand. On page 19 in your agenda pack, which is point of order, Councillor Ibbotson.
Madam Chair, my understanding is that Councillor Johnson's amendment is a valid amendment, and it's important that we take it in that order. So we take Councillor Johnson's version first, because if Councillor Johnson's amendment passes, or if it doesn't, there may be further amendments. So if we have a vote on one substantive and then the other substantive, then we get into a situation where further amendments are going to have to come in the middle of when we've voted on one but not on the other. So I think it's important that we do treat Councillor Johnson's as an amendment and vote on that first, and then there may or may not be further amendments that may or may not pass. But otherwise, this is liable to get incredibly messy, I would suggest.
It is, and I was led to believe that I could do it in sequential order, and the proposal from yourself, Councillor Ibbotson, came first, and that was what I was aiming for, to take it in that order.
Yeah, go, just go. So, page 19.
So the political balance as printed on page 19 of your agenda packs, that is what we will be voting on right now. And if you're in favour of that version, please indicate by raising your hands. Can we have less of the chatter as well, please?
24, and against, Chair.
Raise your hands, anybody against that version on page 19, please.
Um, 31. Any abstentions?
And any abstentions, for clarity, please?
3. Okay, so that was 24, 31 against, and 3 abstentions, Chair.
Councillor Ibbotson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would be grateful for your clarification on this. I assume that you're treating that as a substantive motion which has fallen, and you're now treating Councillor Johnson's as a substantive motion which has been moved and is under discussion. And so further amendments can be proposed to that. The monitoring officer seems to be indicating that that is.
Yeah, you're correct. That is the advice I'm getting from the monitoring officer, yes.
Very well. In which case I move an amendment to that, which maintains the swaps made by groups except the Labour group, which were agreed at group leaders. So that and that version has been sent to the head of Democratic Services, who I am relying upon to send it round to members, given that members of this council can no longer attach things to emails, which is very inconvenient. What this means is that those groups which are happy with the swaps that have been made as agreed at group leaders can maintain them. It maintains the Eagles seat on Governance and Audit Committee, and Labour can sit this out because they obviously have some problem which we've not really heard about the rationale, but I have to assume it's to do with their seats and their seat allocation on page 19. I regret that it has come to this. I regret that we're now having things circulated mid-meeting. The hope was that what had been agreed by group leaders at group leaders would be stuck to by groups. But obviously that isn't the case, which is deeply depressing for the levels of trust in this council, for the working together that we heard from the council leader before. The proof of the pudding in this case is not in the eating. But it allows a sensible allocation of seats between other groups, and Labour can sit in the corner and keep their allocation as on page 17. I cannot see why coalition members would not support this now, and I hope that this is at the very least a sensible compromise, that even if the word of some group leaders when given is not stuck to, we can at least reach a sensible compromise during this meeting, rather than have the same thing that we've had in the past.
Councillor, do you want to explain?
Yeah. What I'm proposing to do is, when this version is handed out here in the chamber and delivered to those online, we will take a brief recess so that we can all take a look at it. Of no longer than, I don't think, Gareth, 15 minutes, do you think? Or
I'm in the hands of the people that need to consider it, Chair.
yeah, I suggest 15 minutes, but no longer than half an hour, because we have still got a lot to get on with. And while we're waiting for that,
it has just been circulated around by email to everybody, Chair. So
I haven't got my email with me.
Those councillors online, Chair, who might be wondering whether they're going to get to see it, it has been sent around by email.
Can we have a bit of order so we can hear what the monitoring officer is saying, please?
Thank you, Chair. And paper copies are going to be produced and handed to those in the chamber now.
Yeah. Councillor Coggins-Cogan.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Being a humble backbencher than I am, I was not at the group leaders' meetings, but it does seem to be a consistent refrain that items that are agreed at group leaders don't make it to the chamber. We've heard from a number of group leaders in the chamber today saying that what they agreed has not transpired onto the documents in front of us today, or at least has not been voted for as agreed. I'm making a second appeal to the leader of the council. His surrogates have spoken why they're not going to support this, but I do think if the leader of the council earlier on said he wants us all to work together, perhaps he can provide an explanation as to why he's decided to depart from that agreement. There may be legitimate reasons, change of circumstance or whatever, but we're in the dark, and it is difficult to provide, it is difficult to trust the word of our leader of the council when it appears as though he's going back on a previous agreement. So I'm inviting the leader of the council to take this opportunity to explain to us why it's changed, and then it gives us more confidence on what we're voting for. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Hughes, would you like to respond to that?
Speak to our
Yeah, thank you, Chair.
executive and report.
I was at that leaders group and I did not agree to it there. My words were, I will take it back to the group.
My executive.
Councillor Ted Palmer.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Cast your mind back a few months. This debacle happened then, just before a by-election where the political balance will change. It's like it's happening again in about another 6 weeks, and we're making a mockery of this when it's going to come back again in 6 weeks. And as far as I've said before, as a member of the group, I am entitled to vote how I want.
Councillor Ian Hodge.
Yeah. Thanks, Chair.
Can we have a little bit of quiet, please, while other councillors are speaking? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chair. I'm completely confused because we have a leaders' meeting that agreed it. I accept Councillor Hughes said he didn't disagree with it. But what about the Independents and the Eagles? Did they agree with it then and now disagree with it? There seems to be more than one group who have suddenly changed their mind, not just the one, which leaves me very, very confused. Thank you.
Councillor Paul Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. Can I clarify what I can actually speak on this motion? I'm completely confused. Can I give a rationale? Can I, or what? Am I making a point of order, clarification? Can I explain why I feel the officers
So, Chair, Councillor Johnson is the mover of the substantive motion. There is an amendment. The Speaker of a substantive motion can't speak on an amendment. It does get the right of reply at the end. So you don't get to speak during the debate, Councillor Johnson, but you speak at the end to sum up and to respond to points that are made during the debate. And that is the purpose of the right of reply, to allow the mover of a motion or of a to answer some of the debates that are raised in response to their motion.
Please, can we have a bit of quiet while Gareth is speaking, explaining things, please?
So,
Councillor Johnson.
I'd just like to be clear on this. So we have had a very fractious meeting. We've had amendments and numbers dealing with 0.1s, 0.2s, 0.3s of a percentage. I would have liked to have at least explained the rationale before you leave this meeting for why I think it's important we go for that document, rather than playing. Do you know, that's the last time I went to saw something like that when I was 16 in schools. They were called log books. Do you remember logarithms and sines and cosines? That feels like I'm dealing with that now. It's the last time I saw numbers on a page. But I would like to really, really explain why.
Councillor Carol Ellis, and please can I remind you, all of you have approached me and asked for less heckling in the room. So please, everybody, listen and respect to what anybody is saying. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. And for a point of clarification, on the meeting, Chair, on the 30th of April, all group leaders were sat round there and we agreed in principle with Councillor Johnson saying he would take back to his group that evening the political balance. The next day, the 1st of May, I spoke with the leader of the council who told me that the group that night had agreed to the political balance that we had actually put forward. I'm not calling the leader a liar, but he told me that the group, the Labour group, agreed, because I have got a message there which I have sent to my colleagues who were present at that meeting, saying political balance agreed by Labour last night. And everyone was saying, well, isn't that good? Because then we won't have this performance in the chamber. So that is my understanding of it. I'm prepared to be proved a liar if someone wants to come and prove that to me. but I know what I was told, and I know what I wrote down in a message to my colleagues. And the group leaders that are here now can say, did I or did I not send you that message? And they know I sent that message. And we thought we'd actually all come together and actually behave like grown-ups and save this. So I have to state, Chair, what is the point of group leaders and making decisions if then we go back on them? What is the point of the leader getting to his feet and saying we need to work together when we try to? What is the point? The independent group leader was all for this on the day because we were given a chair, not a chair, a seat on a committee that they wanted. We were behaving like grown-ups and saying, our group has not got an interest in this committee, your group have. You can have this committee seat. So we're all trying to work together to actually make it happen. And here we are now. I'm totally, utterly, I'm sorry, knocking my bottle over. I'm absolutely disillusioned, disgusted, and any other word I can find that might say, put me in front of the ombudsman or whatever. But I'm saying this, that is the facts. And I'm disgusted.
Councillor Helen Brown.
Thank you. Councillor Ellis says probably most of what I would say, and I do find it, I'm quite disappointed, and I'm also embarrassed that yet again we find ourselves something that was, it was my first group leaders meeting. It was after a little bit of a debate about who wanted to, or who had an interest in which committees and which they didn't. We all made a collective decision, and it was in good faith that now, well, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? Yet here we are again. It's like a circus. We're not going to decide it. We're going to have another break. It's going to go on. Something that was decided quite easily at group leaders, where it was, you know, it was friendly. We all communicated with one another. We had the assurance the following day that agreement had been reached, and yet here we are. It's embarrassing, and it's a waste of time.
Do you agree?
So, before you take any more, Chair, before you take any more speakers, we're going around the houses. We're not actually looking at what's been circulated. Do members want time to look at what's been circulated, Chair? In which case, Chair, I would suggest that you call an adjournment and allow people to look at it, because we're not actually talking about the issues, Chair. We're talking about the process.
Yeah. So, as suggested and as I indicated earlier, we'll call a short adjournment. I will suggest 15 minutes because it has been discussed. Yes, 20 to 2, 20 to 3, sorry. Well, welcome back again. We're just going to go some more. Yeah. Would you like to sum up for me what's happened in the...
So, Chair, we had 2 appendices attached to the report. I'm going to call them A and B. B has been voted on and dismissed. We now have option C, which is available to us. Option C has been moved as an amendment. That is therefore what we are considering at the moment. So that is the piece of paper that was circulated around just before the adjournment, and the calculation, which for those of you online was sent to you by email about 20 minutes ago.
So,
option C.
Right, so we're going to move to the vote to option C, and hopefully we'll gain some time back. So, yeah, just to be clear, you're voting on option C. That's the one that's just been circulated now. Some of us have got it on piece of paper and some were able to get it electronically. So I'd like a show of hands for all those in favour of option C.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. No, bear with me. I've got line 17. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, Chair.
All those against option C, please raise your hand.
One. Twenty 28, 29, 30, 31, I think, Chair. Any abstentions?
And for clarity, any abstentions on this, please?
1, 2, 3. So that was 422 against 31, abstentions 3. So option A is now the substantive motion.
Any speakers to option A, which is on page 17 of the original agenda pack?
Right of reply.
You, Councillor Johnson, you'll have the right of reply.
Yes, that's.
So can I take speakers just?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Ibbotson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had a political balance moved that was agreed by group leaders where a word was broken. We had a further amendment to protect most of what was agreed, and again, group leaders have broken their word. It is now imperative that we have a recorded vote on this issue, which will take time, and it is unfortunate, but it is important that we record when people breach their word. And I would ask members across this chamber to consider the most important thing in representative democracy is our integrity. When you lose that, you can never get it back. If you break your promises, why should anybody ever trust you again? Be they somebody in this chamber or be they the electorate. Integrity is something you can only lose once. So we are going to have a recorded vote now, provided 9 colleagues will stand with me. And this is your chance to put your own reputations, your own integrity on the line. Will you agree to stand by what was promised, or will you Welsh on it?
Can I remind you of your language in here and respect to other members, please?
So, Chair, are there 10 people to stand in response to the request for recorded vote? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 10. We've got 10 in the room, Chair. Councillor Hutchinson appears to want to make a point of order.
Okay. Councillor Hutchinson, did you want to make a point of order?
I'll put my stick down in case I lose my temper, Madam Chair. No,
Can we have some respect when Councillor Hutchinson is speaking, please?
reflection upon yourself. You've done a very, very good job under very, very difficult circumstances, and I applaud you for that. But at the end of the day, Madam Chair, there have been people here who really should know better, take advantage of officers, take advantage of councillors, and they're not behaving in the way that they've been even brought up, Madam Chair, let alone anything else. And I've been in that chair, and I know how difficult it is for the council to be so upset and feeling so sad about what's been happening. And I really do hope they've got the gumption now to put their house in order. And I look at you all for us to say, enough's enough. We want to get on with a result, whether it's for you or against you. We want to get on with the result and the vote be carried properly and respectfully. And I leave that now with you, Madam Chair. You've done a damn good job. Long may it continue. And let's hope these people I'm looking at and pointing at are up on their feet before you can see Jack Robinson or whoever else. We don't want any of that, Madam Chair, and enough is enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hutchinson. Councillor Marion Bateman.
Thank you, Chair. I'm finding it very difficult to vote for any of these propositions. And perhaps I need some guidance, I don't know. I've just been shown some proof, which I consider to be proof, that the leader had said that the Flint People's Voices political balance had been approved by his group. So I'm finding it a bit difficult. I know you had a subsequent meeting, Chair, where it wasn't, but I've just been shown proof that it was initially. So can somebody help me, please?
Councillor Gina Madsen.
Thank you, Chair. At the beginning of this meeting, I asked that we might today conduct ourselves in a way that was respectful to the memory of our sister in civic service, Councillor Hilary McGuill. I am hearing inflammatory language and personal insults, which are an insult to her memory. Can I please ask that we, all of us, whichever political party we respect, show respect to each other? Thank you.
Councillor Chris Biffle.
I take grave objection to the comments made by Councillor Ibbotson when he referred to Welshing on an agreement. That's a racist comment, I believe, and I think it should be withdrawn.
Yes. Yeah.
Can we please try to stick to the imminent vote on the version of political balance as shown on page 17, beg your pardon, when making comments at this point, please. Councillor Ted Palmer.
Thank you, Chair. The political balance that we're voting for now is one step by the officers. The officers have done it for us, not us. Ask them to do it. They've done it. The points that Councillor Ibbotson has said about people going against their promises. Well, I never promised. 8 group leaders, I think, meet. Not the other 61 councillors or the 59 councillors. Just the 8. So 59 councillors haven't agreed to anything.
Councillor Bill Crease.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm a bit disenchanted myself, being told that I've welched on an agreement. Councillor Ibbotson and I sat down at the table and broke bread in his home several years ago, discussing the potential to form an alliance to take control of the council. That discussion broke down for 2 main reasons. One reason was that a disproportionate...
Sorry, Councillor Crease, I just asked people to limit their comments to the vote that we're going to do now and not to elaborate on anything else, please.
Yeah, just to clarify, I'm not welching on anything. I'm an independent now. I was an independent when I was elected, and Councillor Ibbotson knows from personal discussion with me in chat that there is no way I would give consent to my view being given or being guaranteed in any meeting that I wasn't present at.
Okay, we are going to move to the vote now. I think we've, I do beg your pardon, Councillor Coggins-Cogan did want to speak.
Chair, I have asked that Councillor Ibbotson withdraws the comment that he made and the terminology that he used, which is a racist comment, I think has been upheld in the past, in particular incidents such as this. And I call upon him to withdraw that particular phraseology.
Councillor Ibbotson, are you willing to withdraw that phraseology?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am happy to take the opportunity to offer a point of personal explanation. As Councillor Bithell, I'm sure, well knows, the root of that word is entirely different from the nationality of Welsh. I am Welsh. I am proud to be Welsh. I don't think that we need to go offence shopping over silly little things. I think we should grow up, quite frankly. So Councillor Bithell is welcome if he wishes to take me to the Ombudsman, or alternatively, we could just not waste anybody else's time, grow up and stick to what we all agreed.
Councillor Coggins-Cogan, this is the last speaker and we are going to the vote. Make no doubt about that. Right, I will call Councillor Paul Johnson for the right of reply for this. Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. Right, where to start? This has been praised in integrity. Just for the record, Chair, I was elected as a Labour councillor and I still am a Labour councillor. And the manifesto I stood on is the one I still hold to now. We all have integrity. I think it's very important, and I would like to have said this earlier in the debate, because you can actually, I think this debate has actually gone and made my point for me. You may recall at the last time we discussed this, I said in no uncertain terms that it was my view that the best people to go and set political balance were officers with representations from members, etc. The analogy I go and give you, and I gave then, I will repeat it now, is the ward boundaries which we all represent. The Boundary Commission for Wales, whatever the local boundary, whatever it's called these days, decides the boundaries of our wards. Different political parties, individuals can then go and say, we don't like this, we don't like that. But the final decision is made impartially, whether we like it or not, by officers, and that works. What we do here is we don't accept what the officers say. Now, those of us who've been on the council for longer than I have will remember and recall that political balance has been in the past regularly changed, and it never has had this level of contentiousness. Officers' recommendations, as far as I can recall, were always accepted because they were judged to be fair. Where we are happening now is that some people like to challenge what is on there. I do recall a member last time when somebody said to them, accused them of having ulterior motives, went and replied, I think it was, you underestimate me, I usually have 5 or 6. So what I'm looking at here is not about integrity, it's about saying there's a process. Now, you and I can guess that the next time this comes up, we are going to be here for the same amount of time. Now, we can do that, and the people of Flint will be saying, what on earth are they doing? Or we can be rational and say, the process is we make representations about political balance to the officers, and the officers come out with an impartial set of recommendations. That process, I think, is integrity. And if anybody watching this today feels that the process that we're working through now has any integrity, I would be very, very impressed or very interested to hear what they actually thought about that. Political balance is always going to be contentious, but it should be a matter of business, as happens in most councils, either across Wales or across the UK. So my point about accepting this here more than anything else today is that we start to lance the bits, the argument where we feel that we can discuss this for endless amounts of time, and we say that we need to look at officers' recommendations. So I move the recommendations. If I was in the Labour Party, I am the Labour Party, I'm in the group, you can go and say it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but we accept what is there. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so that was the right of reply, which means it is the last speaker. So we will go straight to the vote, and that is voting on the political balance version as... You okay? Shall I wait? On page 17. So all those in favour of...
Sorry, Chair, it's a recorded
It's a
vote.
recorded vote. Gareth did just remind me just before I spoke. I was distracted by the chatter in the room. So, Gareth.
So, Chair, I'm going to go down the list of names. So, Councillor, this is for the table that's on page 17. Councillor Glyn Banks. Or, thank you. Has Pam gone? Pam gone. She's not online. No, she's gone. Okay, thank you. Councillor Bateman isn't with us anymore, or isn't here at the moment. Councillor Bibby. That was 4. Councillor Bithell. 4. Councillor Brockley.
Against.
Councillor Brown.
Against.
Councillor Carberry.
For.
Councillor Claydon.
For.
Councillor Coggins-Cogan.
Against.
Councillor Collett. Councillor Crease.
For.
Councillor Cunningham. Is Cole still with us now? Oh no, he gave his apologies, didn't he? Councillor Rob Davis.
For.
Councillor Ron Davis.
For.
Councillor Davis Cook.
Against.
Councillor Chris Dolphin. Councillor Rosetta Dolphin. Rosetta's not there. Okay. Councillor Eastwood.
4.
That was 4. Councillor Ellis. Against. Councillor Evans. 4. That was 4. Councillor G. Against. Councillor David Healy.
4.
Councillor Gladys Healy.
4.
Councillor Hodge.
Against.
Councillor Andy Hughes. Andy
Against.
Thank you. Councillor David Hughes. Councillor Hutchinson. Against. Councillor Ibbotson.
Against.
Councillor Johnson. Councillor Christine Jones.
For.
Councillor Richard Jones.
4.
Councillor Lister.
4.
Councillor Lloyd. Councillor Mackey.
Against.
Against. Councillor Madison.
4.
That was 4. Councillor Mansell has Ross left.
Against.
Right. Thank you. Councillor Marshall.
Obliged. 4.
Thank you. Councillor McEwen. That was 4. Councillor Mullin.
4.
Thank you. Councillor Owen. 4. Councillor Palmer. 4. Councillor Parkhurst. 4. That was 4. Councillor Pearce. Against. Councillor Michelle. Perfect.
4.
4. Councillor Vicky. Perfect. Vicky left. Councillor Vicky Perfect is left. Councillor Priest. Against. Councillor Richardson.
Against.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts. That was, is that 4, Councillor Roberts?
Yeah, 4.
Yes, thank you. Councillor Rose.
Against.
Thank you. Councillor Rush.
4.
That was 4. Councillor Solkill.
Against.
Thank you. Councillor Sylvester.
Against.
Councillor Shallcross. That was 4. Councillor Swash.
Against.
Councillor Thew. That was against. Councillor Thomas. It was 4. Councillor Wakeland. 4. Councillor Woolley.
Against.
Thank you. Councillor Wren. 4. Thank you. Councillor Coppell. 4. And Councillor Buckley.
4.
Thank you. Bear with me, Chair, while I total up the numbers. Chair, that is 36 for and 21 against.
So that version is carried.
So moving through my report, Chair, the next thing is appointing chairs. You can see within the report that I've set out the rules, which are probably quite familiar now, about which committee appoints which chair, and also the recommendation that the employment committees appoint their own chairs as and when they finally meet, if they ever do. And we're looking, Chair, for nominations for Clwyd Pension Fund, Constitution and Democratic Services, Licensing and Planning Committees.
So I'll take them in that order. Are there any nominations for Chair of Clwyd Pension Fund, please? Councillor Bibby?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Chris Biff.
Do we have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Christine Jones. Any other nominations for the Chair of the Clwyd Pension Fund Committee? No? Okay, we will take it to the vote anyway, just for clarity. So those in favour of Councillor Chris Biffle, Chair of Clwyd Pension Fund, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hands. And any abstentions, please?
Okay. 3, 4, 8, Chair. I think. Oh, okay, I missed that one. Thank you. 9, Chair. So, Constitution Democratic Services, Chair.
So, any nominations for Chair of Constitution and Democratic Services, please? I'll take from the floor. Councillor Andrew Parkhurst.
Councillor Coggins-Cogan, Chair.
Do we have a seconder for that nomination, please? Councillor Lister. Any other nominations, please? None online. Okay, a show of hands for those in favour of Councillor Coggins-Cogan as Chair of Constitution and Democratic Services.
I think that's unanimous, Chair. Very close.
Any against? And any abstentions?
Welcome to the boys and girls.
Okay, we'll move on to the Chair of the Licensing Committee. I'll take nominations for that, please, from the floor. Any nominations for licensing? Councillor Sean Bibby. A seconder, please. Any other nominations for Chair of the Licensing Committee? No. A show of hands for all those in favour of Councillor Rob Davis being Chair of the Licensing Committee, please. Any against? And any abstentions for clarity, please? The next one is for the chair of the planning committee. Take nominations again from the floor. Any nominations for the chair of planning committee, please? Councillor Sean Bibby. Can I get a seconder for Councillor Richard Lloyd? Councillor Gladys Healy. Any more nominations, please? Councillor Carol Ellis.
Councillor Mike Pearce.
Can I get a seconder for the, thank you, Councillor Sylvester. Are there any other nominations for the chair of the planning committee, please? Nobody seems to be indicating.
L before P.
Yeah, trying
Yes,
to work the alphabetical order out. It's been a long afternoon.
Even double L as we're in Wales, Chair,
Yeah.
which is a single letter in itself.
So all those in favour of Councillor Richard Lloyd as chair of the planning committee, please raise your hand in the room.
Councillor Lloyd, Chair.
All those in favour of Councillor Pearce for chair of planning committee, please raise your hand.
Online. 10. 20, Chair. So, Chair, can I just clarify, Councillor Hutchinson, I thought you voted for Councillor Lloyd to start with, but then you voted for Councillor Pearce. Is it Councillor Pearce that was your choice? Thank you. In that case, Chair, the numbers are 34 for Councillor Lloyd and 20 for Councillor Pearce.
Thank you. So that's the chairs of those committees appointed. I believe the rest of the scrutiny committees are voted for at committees. Am I right?
Sorry, no. So grievance committee, grievance appeal committee, and investigatory committee. Council happy that we did that they elect theirs should they ever meet. Yeah, looks that way, Chair. So council needs to decide the allocation to scrutiny of chairs to groups for the scrutiny committees, Chair. That will, because the coalition consists of 3 groups, you will see that their allocation is bundled in the calculation and they get 3 seats. They get 3 chairs between them. There are then 2 other seats, 1 for the FPV and 1 for the true independents.
Councillor Sean Bibby.
Madam Chair, I move the current arrangements in the fact that the Labour Group chairs the Environment and Economy Committee and the Education and Youth Committee, that the Independent Group chairs Corporate Resources, Flintshire People's Voice chair Health and Social Care, and the True Independents Community and Housing.
And to have a seconder for that, please. Lots of seconders. Yep. Yep, got that. Thank you. Any amendments or speakers to that? No. Show of hands, all those in favour of that then, please.
Councillor Parkhurst, did you vote and take your hand down? I thought you had, sorry, I just, yeah. 7, 9, 12, 15, 17, 23. 48 in the room, 14, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48 in favour, Chair.
Any against, please? Show your hands. And any abstentions, please? Show your hands.
5, 4, 5. So 5 abstentions there. So 48 for 5 abstentions. And so, Chair, the next section deals with the rules, procedures, basically the bits in the Constitution about governing our democratic process. We all know about the democratic review. We're due to have a special meeting in June to debate that. Ordinarily, we'd adopt the Constitution for a whole year, but we couldn't quite get a meeting to discuss the constitutional changes before the annual meeting. And with the agreement of group leaders, we agreed that we would bring it back in June rather than try and arrange a special meeting, well, do the Constitution today and then have a special meeting in May of the annual meeting. So, Chair, the rules and procedures are up for agreement, noting that we will or may change them next month.
Can I have a mover and a seconder for that recommendation, please? Councillor Sean Bibby.
Yeah, which to formally move.
Seconder, please. Councillor Ryan McEwen.
Wants to speak?
Oh, just Councillor Ibbotson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I note that this is being taken today with the special meeting with the agreement of group leaders. I think we ought to have a quick look around the chamber to see whether group leaders are still standing by what they agreed at the group leaders meeting, judging by the performance so far. But I do note that earlier today we had a discussion about, and a number of members raised it quite critically, the fact that no longer are planning committee members able to be substituted for. Now, within the proposed revisions to the Constitution, there is the suggestion that this council ought to voluntarily extend that to licensing committee as well, which will cause the same problems with quoracy there. Given the remarks made by members of the coalition and the opposition today, I very strongly recommend that members reflect on whether extending that to licensing committee is in fact wise when we come to do this in June. I raise this now so that members can think about it and give careful, considered thought before we come back for the special meeting. There is a case here of be careful what you wish for. Now, we oppose that suggestion. Some members from the Cabinet very strongly advocated for it for reasons I'm not quite clear on. Perhaps given the fact that they were amongst the members who were criticising the fact that the substitution rules on planning committee are problematic, they might reflect on their own position and we might be able to agree in, I don't know, some form of consensus where perhaps a representative from each group goes and meets in a room and I wonder what we might call that, and I wonder whether people might be trusted to stand by their word at it. We might manage to get to some better version of doing things in this council.
I think it's been noted from the monitoring officer that there's a special meeting set aside for that, but it is worth considering your comments. Thank you very much. Can we have a vote now on number 8 there? The rules and procedures, delegations, codes, etc. be approved, noting the revisions that will be brought in the special meeting. All those in favour?
Certainly carried, Chair. Oh, yes, it is. It's unanimous, Chair.
Unanimous.
Thank you. So, Chair, nominations to internal bodies is next. I won't say much, if anything, about that. We have an appointments committee. It will need to meet in the coming 12 months, of course. Are members comfortable with the makeup of the appointments committee?
Anybody want to move that? Councillor Rose online.
So it was just up from the prior vote.
For the prior vote, yeah.
So, Chair, are members satisfied that we should appoint 7 people to recruit and appoint a chief officer, and that we will do it on a broad political spread rather than actual political balance when we get to that point in time? That actually benefits smaller groups because it does tend to mean that you get greater representation in the interests of ensuring that the whole council is happy with the appointment, rather than those who happen to have political power at the moment. Was anybody willing to move that then, Chair?
Councillor Bibby, and seconded Councillor Johnson. And a show of hands for all in favour of that, please.
Yeah, I think it's certainly carried, even if it's not unanimous, Chair.
Okay.
There was 1 or 2 people against. Okay, Chair, a little bit about Standards Committee. Time to confess. In 2022, we appointed councillors Wren and Carberry for 5 years, even though the Constitution said we should only appoint them for 4 years. We can legally appoint them for 5 years. The Constitution hasn't kept up with that change in the legislation. In order to try and break this down in a logical way, first things first, do you as council want to just extend their term to 5 years, which would take them through to the end of this council term? If not, we need to consider either reappointing them for another term or appointing somebody different for the last 12 months. So the first recommendation, Chair, is just to extend it for 12 months, which would, because they can only serve 2 terms. And what that would mean is if you don't extend their term of office, then they will have done their 2 terms, assuming they get reappointed. And that would mean that their second term of office is only 12 months. Which would prevent them in the next term of council from serving again as a possibility.
Do I have a mover for that, please, Councillor?
I propose we extend to 12 months.
Seconded for that, Councillor Hodge. And all those in favour? Any against?
Four against. So that's 45 for and 4 against.
Any abstentions?
Okay, 1 abstention. Thank you. So the next one, Chair, is about independent members. The current vice chair needs to stand down. It has been some time since council actually had a look at the person specification, which is why I've put it on again for approval. And we need to go out to advert. I've suggested a make-up for the recruitment panel. I'm happy to take questions.
Are there any questions of what Gareth was? Councillor Glyn Banks.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick question for Gareth. Just 133 on
Sorry,
page...
Councillor Banks, can I remind you to stand up?
Apologies, apologies, Chair. Yeah, just on... Read it better when it's down. On point 133 on page 14, could Gareth just explain why the independent member is no longer able to serve now that he's took a position? Because I thought there was a bit of a ruling whereby if you're employed at a council, you could stand as election in a different authority. So how does this differ from that, please?
Chair, one can stand for election as a county councillor. If one is elected as a county councillor, one must then immediately stop being an officer. So you can't be both a councillor and an officer. The rules are slightly different for independent members, but the same principle applies. One can't be both a member and an officer in any event. So specifically for the independent members, he must not be an officer or a serving member, or indeed the spouse of an officer or a serving member, just so that those people on the standards committee, when we call them independent members with a capital I and a capital M, truly are independent.
Okay. Are there any more questions for Gareth on that?
So there were three parts to the recommendation at paragraph 1.35. Sorry, the recommendation 12 didn't pick up the vote of thanks for Mark Morgan, and it needs to as well, Chair.
Yeah, we can record a vote of thanks for Mark Morgan for his service to this council. Put that on record. And we have a mover, please. Councillor Hodge, and seconded by Councillor Hutchinson. And a show of hands, please. For those in favour, should say.
Everybody in the room, Chair. I think that's unanimous, Chair. Yes, that looks to be unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have two vacancies on the Governance and Audit Committee for laypersons. We have the co-opted members on the Governance and Audit Committee. A panel of members interviewed three candidates recently and recommend appointing two. My suggestion, Chair, is that they're appointed until the 30th of June 2031, just to give time after an annual meeting to deal with the issue and to give ourselves a bit of scope. But there is no maximum limit on their term of office, so it's for council to decide how long they wish to appoint those members.
And the recommendation is till 30th of June 2031. Can I get a mover for that, please? Councillor Hodge, and a seconder, Councillor Jason Shallcross. And a show of hands of everybody in favour of that, please.
Yeah, that's a unanimous, Chair. And then the last one, Chair, is in relation to outside bodies. It's just we do them at the start of the council term, and then you delegate authority to the chief executive in consultation with group leaders to make any changes during the course of the year. So just looking to renew that delegation to the chief executive.
I'm looking for a mover, please. Councillor Johnson. A seconder, please. Councillor Dave Evans. And all those in favour?
That's carried, Chair. Unanimous.
Thank you.
Fourth, Chair, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Gareth. Agenda item number 10, that's the petitions. The Democratic Services Manager, Mr. Goodrum, will now present his report.
No, this should be the annual report on submissions.
This is what it's got on my script, so just to let you know, I'm not going wrong.
I think, Chair, we'll have to bring that back to the next meeting. Apologies, Chair. And then we've got scheduled meetings, Chair.
And agenda item number 11, schedule of meetings for 26-27. Chief Officer of Governance will now present this report.
It's late, Chair. I won't say a huge amount about this. You'd be glad to know. We have a number of rules that we try to follow for at the request of members, such as not scheduling two meetings against each other, trying to avoid school holidays, and so on and so forth. The Democratic Services team do their best, and it is a fantastic job. It's a really complex job to try and achieve all of those things and fit in all the meetings that committees and members would like. The schedule of meetings is there for approval if people are happy with it, Chair.
So I'm looking for a mover for this then, please. Councillor Richard Lloyd. A seconder, please. Councillor Ian Hodge. And everybody in favour, please raise their hands.
That's unanimous, Chair.
Thank you very much. So this concludes the formal business of the meeting. There are light refreshments available for members and officers present today, served in the alcove near the chair's room. I would just like to say thank you very much, everybody, today for keeping me on my toes again. Thanks for the opportunity for a second year. Oh, I'm just told now the script's wrong. The butties are downstairs in the Gladstone room. Says it all. Please look after your little tomato plants, and I look forward to seeing the progress on them throughout the year. Thank you very much.
All rise, please, for the Chair of Flintshire County Council.